Are you ready to take control of your life and start making real changes right now? Improving yourself isn't about waiting for the perfect moment or having everything figured out. It's about the choices you make today, even the small ones, that add up to big results over time. Imagine waking up each day with clear focus, feeling confident in your decisions, and making steady progress toward your goals. How different would your life be if you could build habits that keep you moving forward without getting stuck or overwhelmed? In this video, we'll explore simple, practical steps you can start using immediately to sharpen your mindset, manage your time better, and keep your progress on track. No complicated theories or empty motivation, just real down-to-earth advice that works. Stay with me and let's unlock the power you already have inside to improve yourself right now. Chapter 1. Clarify your values to guide every daily decision. Every day begins with choices. Some feel small, like what to eat or wear. Others carry more weight, like how you spend your time or who you allow into your circle. But behind all these decisions is a deeper compass that either guides you forward or keeps you spinning in place. That compass is your values. Most people never stop to ask themselves what truly matters to them. They rush through life, pulled in every direction by noise, pressure, and distraction. They wake up reacting instead of acting. That kind of life might look busy from the outside, but inside it feels hollow, disconnected, and scattered. If you want to improve yourself right now, the first and most important thing you must do is this: define your values clearly and live by them without compromise. Living without clear values is like driving without a map. You might be moving, but you're not going anywhere specific. You're just reacting to the next thing in front of you. But when you know your values, decisions become easier, discipline feels purposeful, life starts to feel like it has direction. You stop being distracted by what doesn't matter, because you're anchored in what does. That's real clarity. That's power. And the best part is, you don't need anything external to start. It begins with you, and it begins now. Take a hard look at your daily choices. Ask yourself why you're making them. Are you working a job because you truly believe in what you do, or because it's just expected of you? Are you staying in certain friendships because they bring you peace and growth, or because they're familiar and easy? Are you using your time in ways that reflect what you value, or are you just filling space to avoid discomfort? Every single action you take reflects a value. Whether that value is strength, comfort, honesty, status, growth, or escape, your actions expose what you really believe in. The question is, are those the values you want guiding your life? Most people were never taught how to define their values. They picked them up from the world around them: parents, culture, social media, peers. Over time, they absorbed expectations without realizing it. They were told to succeed, to be liked, to make money, to fit in, to stay safe, to not stand out too much. These aren't always bad things, but they aren't necessarily yours. And when you live by values that don't truly belong to you, your life becomes a performance. You do things that look right on the outside, but feel wrong on the inside. That tension is what causes anxiety, confusion, and burnout. You can't live a powerful life if you're building it on someone else's blueprint. So how do you find your real values? You start by getting quiet. You tune out the noise and sit with yourself. You reflect on the moments in your life when you felt proud, strong, clear, and alive. What were you doing? Who were you with? What did that say about what matters to you? Maybe it was when you pushed through something difficult, and it taught you that perseverance is a core value. Maybe it was when you told the truth even though it cost you something, and it showed you that integrity matters more to you than approval. Maybe it was when you helped someone without expecting anything back, and you realized that contribution fuels your sense of purpose. These moments are not random. They are signals, they are windows into your deepest self. Once you start identifying those values, write them down, don't overthink it. Choose 3 to 5 that resonate with you the most. These should not be words that sound good or impressive. They should feel honest, grounded, and personal. They should describe who you are when you're at your best. Maybe your values are growth, discipline, honesty, freedom, service, courage, or peace. Maybe they're completely different. It doesn't matter what they are, as long as they feel true to you. Now comes the hard part, living by them. This is where most people fall short. They define values, but they don't align their behavior with them. They say they value health, but ignore their body. They say they value honesty, but lie to avoid discomfort. They say they value family, but don't show up fully. If you want your values to change your life, you must use them to make real decisions, especially when it's hard. That means making trade-offs. That means disappointing people. That means walking away from comfort and into challenge. But that's what builds strength. That's what builds character. Living by your values will not always feel good in the moment. It will often feel uncomfortable. That's because real alignment requires sacrifice. You might have to say no to things that once felt important. You might lose people who don't understand your direction. You might have to hold yourself to a higher standard than you're used to. But the reward is far greater than the cost. You gain something that no external reward can give you. You gain inner peace. You gain self-respect. You gain a life that feels honest. The truth is, you already know what matters to you. Deep down, your body knows when something feels right or wrong. Your gut tightens when you violate your own principles. Your mind races when your actions don't match your intentions. Your heart feels heavy when you betray what you know is true. Those signals are your inner compass. Most people just ignore them. They numb them with distractions, excuses, or rationalizations. But you don't have to. You can choose to listen. You can choose to align. That's how self-improvement starts, not with big gestures but with quiet integrity. Every morning, remind yourself of your values. Write them down. Reflect on them before you check your phone or rush into the world. Ask yourself what kind of person you want to be today. Then with each choice, check in. Is this in alignment? Is this moving me closer to who I want to become? If the answer is no, pause, step back, redirect. You are not a slave to impulse. You are a conscious being with the ability to choose. That is your power. That is your freedom. In a world full of noise, temptation, and shallow distractions, values are your anchor. They keep you steady when life shakes you. They remind you who you are when others try to define you. They give your actions meaning and your pain a purpose. They are the foundation on which real strength is built. And they are always within your reach. You don't need money, status, or approval to live by your values. You only need courage and honesty. This is not about being perfect. You will slip. You will make decisions that don't reflect your highest self. That's okay. Growth is not about never falling. It's about rising with more wisdom each time. When you step out of alignment, use it as a chance to reflect, learn, and recommit. Over time, the more you live by your values, the more natural it becomes. It stops feeling like a performance and starts feeling like who you truly are. That's the goal, to close the gap between your actions and your principles so completely that you no longer feel torn or divided. If you've been feeling lost or overwhelmed, start here. Don't try to fix everything at once. Don't chase 10 goals with no direction. Get clear on what matters most. Let that clarity shape your habits, relationships, priorities, and commitments. Make decisions that serve your values, not your fears. Walk away from what distracts you and move toward what strengthens you. Build a life that feels solid because it's rooted in truth. People often chase motivation, but clarity is more powerful than motivation. When you know what matters, you don't need hype to act. You act because it's who you are. You act because not acting would feel like a betrayal. That's what makes change last. Not a burst of energy, but a deep shift in identity. You don't just change what you do, you change why you do it. You move from being reactive to being intentional. And once you start living that way, everything changes. Your time is limited. Every day you are exchanging hours of your life for something. Make sure it's something that matters. Make sure it reflects your values. If it doesn't, step away. You don't need permission to realign. You don't need to explain yourself to people who don't understand. You just need to act. Quietly, consistently, powerfully. That's how you begin to improve yourself right now. Not with a perfect plan, not with external applause, but with internal alignment. You choose to live in a way that honors who you are. And you do it every day, especially when it's hard. That's how real strength is built. That's how self-respect is earned. That's how your life begins to feel whole again. Clarity is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Without it, you'll be busy but lost. You'll be successful but empty. You'll be surrounded by people but disconnected from yourself. But with it, you can face anything. You can walk through pain without being destroyed. You can stand alone without fear. You can move through life with confidence because you know who you are and what you stand for. So stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop searching for motivation. Stop asking for permission. You already have what you need. Your values are waiting for you to commit. Decide who you want to be. Define what you stand for. Then live like it matters, because it does. And once you start doing that, you'll feel something powerful: peace. Not because life is easy, but because you are finally living in truth. That's how you improve yourself right now. That's how you start winning from the inside out. Chapter 2. Commit to small, consistent steps toward lasting change. Change doesn't happen when you make a dramatic move. Once it happens when you commit to the small things every day that nobody sees, that nobody praises, that nobody rewards at first. That's where the real transformation begins. Not in noise, not in excitement, but in steady, quiet consistency. If you want to improve your life, stop searching for the big breakthrough. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Lasting change is never the result of one explosive effort. It is the result of daily intentional action stacked one on top of another until your past habits no longer define you. Most people fail to change because they chase intensity instead of consistency. They get inspired for a few days, dive into a new goal with everything they have, and then crash the moment life gets inconvenient. They expect results too fast. They confuse action with progress. They think that if it doesn't feel extreme, it's not working. But the truth is, improvement is not loud. It doesn't demand attention. It builds quietly. Progress whispers. And only those who commit to daily effort can hear it clearly. The problem is never your potential. It's your patience. You want change, but you want it fast. You expect to undo years of neglect in days. You expect a straight line from effort to reward. But nothing valuable in life works that way. Strength is not built in a day. Character is not formed in a weekend. Mastery doesn't come from bursts of motivation. It comes from showing up even when it feels pointless. Even when you don't see the reward yet. Especially when no one is watching. The only thing you need to begin is a commitment to keep showing up. Not a perfect plan. Not unlimited time. Just the willingness to do one thing well today, and then do it again tomorrow. The man who improves slowly every day will always outrun the one who sprints for a week and stops. One step repeated enough times will take you farther than 100 that lead nowhere. Start small. Not because you're weak, but because it's smart. Real change begins with what you can control right now. Wake up earlier by 10 minutes. Drink water instead of soda. Put your phone down for 1 hour. Read 1 page. Do 5 push-ups. Speak with respect to yourself once today. These are not small things. These are foundational bricks. Stack them every day, and you will become unrecognizable in a year. The people who win long-term don't do it by force, they do it by precision. They know that one small shift, done consistently, rewires their entire identity. Every day you are reinforcing who you are. Your actions shape your self-image. When you skip what matters, you're not just losing a day, you're telling your brain that your goals don't matter. But when you show up for yourself, even in a small way, you're proving that you can be trusted. And that trust in yourself, that's what transforms your self-esteem, your confidence, and your future. The real secret is this: consistency creates momentum, and momentum creates belief. Once you start acting like the person you want to become, you begin to believe that change is possible. You no longer see improvement as a fantasy. You see it as a pattern you're building. But you can't wait until you feel ready. You'll never feel ready. You must start with what you have and allow your actions to create the readiness. You won't always feel motivated. That's a fact. But motivation isn't the goal. Momentum is created by doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. That's where mental toughness is forged. That's where discipline is born. If you only take action when you're excited, you're not committed, you're just entertained. But if you take action when it's hard, when it's boring, when it's inconvenient, that's when change becomes real. There's a lie the world wants you to believe, that success should be instant, that you should feel good all the time, that hard work must always produce quick rewards. Don't fall for it. You are not here to be comfortable. You are here to grow. And growth comes from doing what matters long after the excitement fades. Every great transformation is the result of countless invisible days of repetition. Days when you choose progress over comfort. Days when you stay focused while others drift. Days when you say no to excuses and yes to effort. The key is not to rely on willpower. It's to build systems that remove the need for willpower. Set your environment up to support your goals. If you want to read more, put the book on your bed. If you want to eat better, remove junk food from your kitchen. If you want to wake up earlier, place your alarm across the room. These small adjustments remove friction. They make the right choice easier. Discipline becomes easier when the path is clear. Stop thinking in extremes. Stop telling yourself that you must go all in or not at all. That mentality is poison. It keeps you stuck in cycles of guilt and burnout. Instead, focus on progress, not perfection. If you can't do the full workout, do half. If you can't meditate for 20 minutes, do 2. If you can't write a full page, write 1 sentence. Momentum beats intensity every time. And over time, those small efforts compound into results you never thought possible. There's no shortcut to mastery, but there is a path, and it's walked by those who stop waiting for ideal conditions and start acting right now. They understand that progress is not measured by how fast you move, but by how consistently you show up. They don't need applause. They don't seek permission. They are focused on what they can control today. And that focus repeated over weeks and months becomes unstoppable power. You'll be tempted to quit. You'll hear that voice that says it's not working, that you're not changing fast enough, that it's not worth it. Ignore it. That voice is fear. That voice is weakness trying to survive. It feeds on inconsistency. Starve it by taking action. Every small step is a blow against that inner doubt. Every step forward makes the voice quieter, until one day you don't hear it anymore. All you hear is clarity, purpose, and strength. Don't compare your journey to anyone else's. Their pace is not your problem. Their progress has nothing to do with your path. The only comparison that matters is who you were yesterday versus who you are today. If you're improving, even slightly, you are winning. And if you're not improving, don't panic. Recommit. Start again. One small step, that's all it takes. Understand this: your life is the sum of your habits, not your intentions, not your dreams, not your goals, your habits. What you do repeatedly shapes who you become. So ask yourself honestly, what are you repeating every day? Are those actions building the life you want? Or are they keeping you stuck? You don't need to overhaul your entire existence. You just need to begin replacing one weak habit with one strong one. And then repeat. Discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build. Brick by brick, day by day. You become disciplined by doing what you said you would do, by keeping promises to yourself, by choosing the harder path because you know it leads to strength. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep moving, even if it's slow. Especially if it's slow. Don't wait until you're in the mood. Mood is a trap. Commitment is what matters. Show up tired. Show up unmotivated. Show up uncertain. But show up. That's what separates those who change from those who wish. Commitment means doing it when it's no longer fun, when it's frustrating, when it's inconvenient. If you can do that, you are already ahead of 90% of people. Your mind will resist change. That's normal. Your brain is wired for comfort and familiarity. It will try to pull you back to what feels easy. But you are not your brain's servant. You are its master. You tell it where to go. And you do that by choosing action over excuses. The first step is always the hardest. The second is easier. And by the 10th you start building momentum that carries you forward. Track your progress. Not to chase perfection, but to remind yourself that you're growing. Write down what you did today that you wouldn't have done a month ago. Measure consistency, not results. The results will come, but consistency is what builds belief. And belief is what fuels more action. Over time, your confidence grows. You stop needing outside validation. You know you're becoming better. You feel it. You're not broken. You don't need fixing. You just need to move forward. One small, strong step at a time. Stop waiting. Start with what you have. Start where you are. But start right now. The path to change isn't found in some distant future. It's created by the decision you make in this moment. The decision to show up. The decision to act. The decision to not give up on yourself again. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to earn permission. You don't need to wait until the stars align. You just need to build, slowly, intentionally, day after day. You will be tempted to stop. Don't. You will doubt yourself. Keep going. You will wonder if it's working. Trust the process. The reward doesn't come instantly, but when it does, it will be worth every step. That's how real change happens. Not overnight, not in flashes of motivation, but through quiet, consistent steps repeated without drama or delay. This is your power. This is your time. Build your future by mastering today. One action, one decision, one step, over and over, until the life you want is the life you live. Chapter 3. Design a routine that supports your highest priorities. If you want to change your life, you have to take control of your days, because nothing changes until your routine does. Your future isn't built in random moments of inspiration. It's built in the structure you create for yourself. It's built in the hours you protect for your priorities. If you don't design your time, it will be designed for you. And if your days are designed by distraction, disorganization, or other people's demands, you will never become who you're meant to be. You must take ownership of your routine, like your life depends on it, because it does. The people who rise to the top are not more talented or more lucky. They've simply mastered their hours. They know what matters most, and they align their daily behavior with those values. They don't live reactively. They build their life deliberately. Every morning, they wake up with a plan. Every evening, they know exactly what they invested their energy into. And that clarity separates them from the majority, who wander through each day, hoping something good will happen by chance. Without a clear routine, you will default to the path of least resistance. You'll check your phone before your feet touch the floor. You'll waste your peak hours on meaningless tasks. You'll drift into obligations you didn't choose. That's not freedom. It's chaos dressed as convenience. But when you structure your time with purpose, your mind shifts. You begin to operate from intention instead of impulse. You don't chase time anymore. You command it. It starts with clarity. You need to know what actually matters to you, not what sounds good, not what other people think you should care about. Your highest priorities must be non-negotiable. If your health matters, it must be scheduled. If your goals matter, they must be planned. If your peace matters, you must guard it. A routine is not a prison, it's protection. It's the boundary that shields your time from being stolen by trivial things. Don't overcomplicate it. A powerful routine doesn't require perfection. It just needs alignment. It needs to reflect the life you say you want. So if you want to grow mentally, create space in your morning to read, journal, or reflect. If you want to grow physically, block time to move your body without compromise. If you want to achieve your goals, prioritize deep, focused work over shallow busyness. Your routine should not reflect your past. It should reflect your future. One of the most powerful decisions you can make is to start your day on your terms. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you begin with chaos, distraction, or passivity, you enter the day already defeated. But if you begin with intention, clarity, and action, you build momentum before the world has a chance to interfere. Wake up earlier, not because it's trendy, but because it gives you space. Space to think, space to breathe, space to act before the noise begins. You don't rise to the level of your motivation, you fall to the level of your systems. If you don't structure your days, you'll rely on willpower, and willpower fades. Systems don't. Systems carry you when energy dips. Systems keep you focused when emotions shift. A well-designed routine is a system that removes decision fatigue and reduces friction. You don't have to guess what to do next. You just follow the rhythm you've built for yourself. Start small. Build anchors into your day that ground you. An anchor could be a specific task done at a specific time. A morning walk. A writing session after lunch. A nighttime review before sleep. These anchors become your rhythm. They create stability, and with enough repetition, they shape your identity. You no longer think of yourself as someone who tries to stay focused. You become someone who is focused, because your routine reflects that truth. When you design your day, make sure it serves the life you want, not the life you're trying to escape. A routine is not meant to numb you. It's meant to wake you up. It's not about filling every minute. It's about filling your time with meaning. Say no to what doesn't matter, not because you're rude, but because your vision deserves protection. Every yes to distraction is a no to discipline. Every yes to comfort is a no to progress. Build a routine that makes saying no easier. You can't just schedule tasks. You must schedule energy. Know when you're at your best and guard that time like gold. If your mind is sharp in the morning, don't waste it on emails. If you crash mid-afternoon, schedule breaks. Your routine should reflect your rhythm. It should adapt to your reality, not some fantasy of hyperproductivity. The goal isn't to do more, it's to do what matters, better, deeper, more consistently. Don't confuse activity with alignment. A full calendar means nothing if it's filled with low-value distractions. Your time is your greatest resource. Every minute spent on autopilot is a minute stolen from your potential. Audit your days. Ask yourself what habits are fueling your goals and which ones are draining them. Then design around that truth, ruthlessly. This is your life. You don't have time to waste on anything less than purpose. A great routine doesn't remove spontaneity. It protects your capacity for it. When your essentials are structured, you gain flexibility with the rest. You're not constantly catching up. You're not running from task to task without breath. You have space to think, to create, to connect. That's what structure gives you. Freedom on the other side of discipline. Discipline is built through repetition, not intensity. So don't try to overhaul everything in 1 week. Choose one habit that reflects your priority and lock it in. Then build around it. Let your routine evolve as you grow. It's not fixed. It's not rigid. It should adapt to your season, your goals, your responsibilities. But no matter what changes, the principle stays the same. Your routine must reflect what matters most. When you're tired, your routine keeps you going. When you're lost, your structure brings clarity. When the world is chaotic, your schedule gives you peace. This is not about being robotic. It's about being intentional. Most people drift. They don't know how they spent the week. They can't explain why they're stuck. Don't be like them. Live with design, not default. Your mind is clearer when your time is structured. Your stress drops when your hours are directed. You don't need more time, you need better use of it. A strong routine removes the clutter. It eliminates the unnecessary. It reveals what truly matters. And once you live from that place, everything changes. Your confidence grows. Your output improves. Your vision sharpens. You no longer need motivation to keep going. You have a path, and the path pulls you forward. There will be resistance. Your old habits will fight back. You'll be tempted to skip, delay, or give up. That's normal. But every time you stick to your routine, even slightly, you weaken the voice of resistance. You prove that your future matters more than your feelings. That you don't serve comfort, you serve purpose. And that choice made daily transforms everything. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. or follow someone else's formula. You need a routine that fits your mission. One that makes your life easier to manage, not harder. One that frees your mind to focus on what matters. One that reflects your goals, your values and your priorities, not your distractions, fears or obligations. And remember, your routine is not only about productivity. It's about identity. It's about becoming the kind of person who lives with intention, who doesn't wait to feel ready, who doesn't rely on chaos to feel alive. When you choose structure, you choose power. When you live by design, you reclaim your life. Your routine is a reflection of what you believe you deserve. When you treat your time with value, you send a message to yourself: my life matters. My priorities matter. My goals are worth protecting. And over time, those decisions compound into extraordinary outcomes. Not because you tried harder than everyone else, but because you were consistent with what counts. Every day is a vote for the future you want to build. Your routine is how you cast that vote, over and over, until the gap between who you are and who you want to become disappears. That's how you win, not all at once, but little by little, on ordinary days that most people waste. You're not most people. You're here to take control. You're here to live fully. You're here to build something real. So stop letting your schedule reflect randomness. Stop drifting. Stop reacting. Design your day. Protect your hours. Honor your priorities. And let every decision reflect the person you are committed to becoming. That's where success lives, not in the future, not in dreams, but in how you spend the next hour. Take control of that hour. Then repeat. That's how you change everything. Chapter 4. Eliminate distractions that weaken your focus and progress. If you want to take your life to the next level, you have to stop letting distractions rob you of your focus and your future. Every day you're being pulled in 1,000 directions: notifications, noise, temptations, conversations that drain you, content that numbs you. It never stops. And if you don't consciously choose what you give your attention to, you'll be left with nothing but scattered energy and unrealized potential. Greatness requires focus, and focus requires elimination. You cannot build anything meaningful while constantly surrendering your mind to interruptions. You say you want to grow. You say you want to change. But you scroll endlessly, chase dopamine hits, and let your time be consumed by things that don't serve you. That's not discipline. That's delay. That's avoidance disguised as entertainment. Distractions don't look dangerous because they're disguised as harmless habits, but they are the silent killers of progress. They're the reason you feel overwhelmed but unaccomplished, busy but not fulfilled, tired but not productive. You weren't born to be distracted. You were born to create, to build, to contribute something real. But that version of you can't come alive if your mind is constantly hijacked by things that don't matter. You have to start asking better questions. Does this help me or hurt me? Does this move me forward or keep me stuck? If the answer isn't growth, you need to cut it ruthlessly, because nothing will change until you change what you tolerate. Your attention is currency. Every second you give away is a payment you'll never get back. You think it's just one more video, one more check of your phone, one more minute of scrolling, but those minutes add up. They become hours, then days, then months of wasted energy that you'll never recover. And the scary part is, you won't even realize it's happening until you look back and wonder where the time went. Take your attention seriously. Guard it like your future depends on it, because it does. You can't focus if you're constantly reacting, and you can't make real progress if your environment is designed to distract you. Look around, your space, your apps, your routines. Are they helping you lock in, or are they stealing your clarity? Clean your digital life. Turn off non-essential notifications. Unfollow the accounts that flood your mind with comparison. Remove apps that serve no real purpose. Create physical spaces that signal work, reflection, or peace. You can't expect laser focus in a chaotic environment. Don't just try to resist temptation, eliminate it. Willpower is not a long-term strategy. If your distractions are within arm's reach, you will eventually give in. So take the decision out of your hands. Put your phone in another room. Use website blockers when you need deep focus. Tell the people around you when you're unavailable. These may seem like small changes, but they create massive leverage over time, because now you're not fighting for focus, you're setting yourself up for it. The greatest performers, creators and leaders don't just manage time, they manage attention. They know their energy is limited, and they spend it with precision. They don't allow noise to enter their minds unless it serves their mission. You need to adopt that same level of intensity. Stop trying to balance everything. Start cutting what doesn't belong. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Not every invitation needs a response. Every yes to distraction is a no to discipline. It's not enough to want progress. You have to create the conditions that make progress possible. That means simplifying your commitments. That means learning to say no. That means choosing depth over speed and presence over pressure. You don't need to do more. You need to be more intentional with what you allow into your life. Because what you allow, you repeat. And what you repeat becomes who you are. You'll never find your power in a distracted state. Distraction weakens you. It scatters your thoughts, clouds your vision, and dulls your drive. You start losing the sharpness that's required to break through. But when you eliminate distractions, even for a short time, your mind begins to reset. You think clearer. You move with more purpose. You begin to remember what it feels like to be in control of yourself again. The world will not make this easy for you. Everything is designed to steal your focus. The platforms you use, the media you consume, the devices you carry, they are all built to hook you, addict you, and keep you passive. So if you want to break free, you need to be intentional. You need to create rules for yourself that protect your attention, and you must treat those rules with the same seriousness you'd treat any contract. Because when you break them, you're not just losing focus, you're betraying your future. Start carving out focus blocks in your day. Even just 1 hour of deep, undistracted work can move your life forward more than 10 hours of scattered effort. Put your phone away. Shut out the noise. Commit to one task and go all in. Feel what it's like to actually finish something, to give your full mind to one thing. That kind of focus is rare, and that's exactly why it's so powerful. It separates the amateurs from the achievers. You are not lazy. You are distracted. You are not unmotivated. You are overstimulated. You are not broken. You are simply disconnected from your power. And that disconnection is caused by the small, subtle choices you make every day, the ones that seem harmless in the moment but accumulate into a lifestyle that keeps you stuck. Reverse that pattern. Reclaim your time. Protect your peace. When you eliminate distractions, you'll realize how much time you actually have. Time that was buried under the noise. Time that can now be invested into your goals, your growth, your well-being. You'll start to see progress where there used to be frustration. You'll start to feel proud of what you're building, not just busy with what you're doing. And that shift will give you the confidence to go even deeper. Don't wait for the perfect moment to get focused. Create it. Turn off the world. Open your notebook. Sit with your thoughts. Build something real. It doesn't matter if it's small. What matters is that it's yours. You don't need to perform for anyone else. You just need to stay loyal to what matters. And that loyalty is shown through your actions, through what you choose to focus on, and what you refuse to tolerate anymore. You will face temptation. You will get bored. You will want to check your phone, open another tab, look for an escape. But in that moment, you have a choice. You can feed the habit that keeps you scattered, or you can build the one that makes you stronger. You can give in, or you can go deeper. Every time you choose focus, you build a version of yourself that is harder to break and easier to trust. Focus is a muscle, and like any muscle, it gets stronger through consistent resistance. The more you protect it, the more you build it, and eventually it becomes your default mode. You stop craving distraction. You start craving clarity. You stop looking for noise. You start looking for depth. That's how you transform, not through hype or hustle, but through discipline and deletion. So look at your life right now. What's stealing your time? What habits drain your energy without giving anything back? What do you keep saying just for a minute that ends up taking hours? Be honest. Then cut. Replace the distractions with presence, with practice, with progress. The more you clear away, the more space you create for real growth. You don't need to do this perfectly. You just need to begin. 1 hour without distraction, 1 day with intention, 1 week of commitment. That's how momentum builds. And once you feel it, once you see how much better life feels without the constant noise, you won't want to go back. You'll crave the stillness. You'll seek the silence. Not because it's easy, but because it's yours. Don't underestimate the power of removing just one distraction from your life. That one decision can open a door to a completely new level of clarity and strength. Because focus isn't just about getting things done. It's about becoming someone you trust, someone you respect, someone who follows through. You have dreams inside you that require deep attention, not divided attention, not occasional interest. They require your full presence. And until you learn to eliminate what doesn't matter, those dreams will remain stuck inside you. They will fade slowly, not because they weren't real, but because they weren't protected. Don't let that be your story. Build a new one where you're focused, clear, and fully alive. One where your energy is no longer wasted on the trivial. One where your progress is undeniable, because your priorities are unshakable. And it all starts with a single decision to eliminate the distractions that weaken your focus and steal your progress. Make that decision now. Then repeat it every day. That's how you take your power back. That's how you win. Chapter 5. Build strong habits through daily intentional repetition. If you want to completely change your life, you need to start doing the right things daily until they become automatic. That's how transformation happens, through relentless repetition of intentional actions. Not through hype, not through random bursts of motivation, but through discipline that shows up every single day, whether you feel like it or not. You don't build a powerful life by accident. You build it by showing up for your habits like they're your lifeline, because they are. Every habit you form is a brick in the foundation of your future. And if you keep placing those bricks one at a time, with precision and consistency, You'll eventually build a life that can't be knocked down by setbacks, doubt, or external pressure. But that takes deliberate repetition. It's not about doing it once. It's about doing it again and again until it becomes part of who you are. Most people don't fail because they lack vision. They fail because they lack the patience to repeat small efforts long enough to create momentum. They chase the next big thing instead of mastering the basics. They overcomplicate the process instead of trusting the power of simplicity. The truth is, you don't need more complexity. You need more consistency. You need to pick the habits that align with who you want to become, and then repeat them with intention until they no longer require force. Don't wait for motivation to show up. Design your life around your standards. Habits are the systems that carry your identity forward. If you want to feel confident, start doing things that reinforce confidence. If you want to feel healthy, start repeating the behaviors of someone who respects their body. If you want to become focused, stop making decisions based on how you feel in the moment and start doing what aligns with your long-term vision. This is where most people break. They start strong and then disappear. They get frustrated because results take time. They want instant transformation, but they forget that habits compound. You don't notice the growth immediately. You don't feel the change every single day. But that doesn't mean it isn't working. It's like planting a seed. You don't dig it up every morning to check if it's growing. You water it. You expose it to sunlight. You trust the process, and eventually it breaks through the surface. That's what happens with intentional repetition. When you show up daily, even if the progress seems invisible, you are building something real beneath the surface. Your brain starts rewiring. Your identity starts aligning with your actions. You begin to believe in your own consistency. And once belief sets in, you become unstoppable, not because things get easier, but because you've trained yourself to keep going. Small disciplines repeated over time lead to massive breakthroughs. But the key is the intention behind them. Mindless repetition won't get you anywhere. You can go through the motions for years and never change. But when you show up with full presence, when you pour energy into every rep, every word, every practice, that's when transformation begins. You have to mean it. You have to be in it. You have to treat each repetition like it matters, because it does. You don't need to master 10 things at once. You need to master one thing and let that mastery create momentum. Focus on one keystone habit. Wake up early. Train your body. Journal your thoughts. Read for growth. Whatever habit aligns with your higher self, lock into it. Don't skip it. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't water it down. Repeat it until you can't imagine a day without it. That's when it becomes part of your character. You need to stop treating your habits like temporary solutions. They are your life system. You don't brush your teeth for 30 days and then quit. You do it because that's what clean people do. In the same way, you don't journal for a week and stop. You don't meditate a few times and give up. You keep going because that's what focused, calm, and self-aware people do. Your habits must reflect the type of person you are becoming, not the mood you're in, and that's the shift most people never make. They operate from feeling instead of identity. If they feel tired, they skip. If they feel distracted, they delay. But winners don't make decisions based on emotions. They make decisions based on commitment. They know that every time they show up, even when it's hard, they reinforce a stronger version of themselves. And that version starts to take over. You won't always feel progress. Some days will feel flat. Some days will feel frustrating. But if you repeat the right habits long enough, they will eventually deliver more than you expected. They'll start to build momentum in every area of your life. You'll start to notice how waking up early improves your clarity, how journaling helps you manage stress, how consistent workouts build mental toughness. It all connects, but only if you stay with it long enough. There is no substitute for showing up. You can read all the books, watch all the videos, and plan the perfect routine, but if you don't repeat your actions, you'll stay stuck. Execution matters more than inspiration. Repetition matters more than excitement. You don't need another life hack. You need to do the things you already know, repeatedly and deliberately, until they change your life. Repetition without purpose is a waste, but repetition with focus is the most powerful force you can harness. It's what separates amateurs from professionals, dabblers from masters, dreamers from achievers. The difference isn't talent, it's who's willing to repeat what works even when it feels boring, uncomfortable, or slow. You need to become the kind of person who keeps their promises to themselves. That means doing the thing every day, not just when it's convenient. Because the real power of habits isn't just what they do for you, it's who they prove you are. When you follow through consistently, you stop doubting yourself. You stop negotiating with your goals. You build self-trust, and that trust is what unlocks real progress. Don't chase excitement. Chase mastery. Mastery is the result of repetition done with care. It's built in silence, over time, without applause. And most of the time, no one will notice. But that's the point. You're not doing it for attention. You're doing it because you know that success is found in the boring, invisible repetitions that most people aren't willing to endure. You need to get addicted to the process, not the outcome. Results are not guaranteed on your timeline, but effort always compounds. Every time you show up, you are separating yourself from those who don't. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are stacking strength. And eventually, those tiny daily actions will add up to something massive. Track your repetitions. Not for validation, but for momentum. Watch how consistent you've been. Use that as proof that you can keep going. One day becomes 3. 3 becomes 7. A week becomes a month. A month becomes a mindset. And that mindset becomes the way you live. You won't always be perfect. You'll slip. You'll forget. You'll have off days. That's okay, but never let a mistake become a pattern. Miss once but never twice. Fall off, but always get back up. That's the power of repetition. It doesn't demand perfection. It just demands persistence. Keep returning. Keep doing. Keep showing yourself who you are. This is how you win. Not in one big moment, but through thousands of small decisions. Through every early wake-up, every disciplined workout, every focused writing session, every healthy meal, every time you show up when it's hard, you are proving to your future self that they can count on you. And that trust is worth everything. Don't let your past define you. Let your habits redesign you. You don't need to become someone new overnight. You just need to start acting like the person you want to be, daily, intentionally, and repeatedly. That's how change becomes permanent. Not through force, but through rhythm. Not through pressure, but through alignment. If you feel stuck, ask yourself what you've been repeating. Because your life is a reflection of your patterns. If you change the pattern, you change the outcome. It won't happen in a week. It won't happen in a month. But it will happen if you refuse to give up on your habits. And when it does, it won't feel like a breakthrough. It'll feel like the natural result of everything you've been doing all along. That's the reward of daily repetition. It sneaks up on you.
One day you wake up and realize you've become the person you once only imagined. Not because of luck, but because of intention, because of discipline, because of relentless repetition. That's how real change happens.
Chapter 6. Set clear, measurable goals to track your success. If you want to stop drifting through life and finally take control of your future, you must start setting goals that are so clear and measurable that there's no room for confusion. Because vague intentions produce vague results, but sharp goals shape sharp minds. You can't hit a target you can't see. And most people fail not because they're incapable, but because they never defined what winning actually looks like. You've got to make it specific, concrete and visible, something you can measure, track, and work toward every single day with purpose. Success doesn't show up randomly. It arrives where clarity lives. It rewards the person who sets the direction, takes the steps, and tracks the path. Without a defined destination, your effort scatters, your time leaks, your progress stalls. That's why you need a measurable target. Something that tells you, yes, I'm getting closer, or no, I'm off course. Goals are not just about the dream, they are about the data, numbers, evidence, proof that you're moving forward. Every high achiever understands this. They know that what gets measured gets managed. They don't rely on hope. They don't guess. They track. They monitor. They reflect. And if something isn't working, they adjust. They don't confuse movement with progress. They understand that being busy isn't the same as being effective. And to be effective, your goals must be written, reviewed, and pursued with intention. When your goal is clear, your mind stops wandering. You no longer waste energy on what doesn't matter. You don't entertain distractions, and you don't make impulsive decisions. You filter your actions through a simple question: does this move me closer to my goal? If the answer is no, you cut it. If the answer is yes, you double down. That's how you eliminate confusion. That's how you build momentum. You have to make your goals measurable so you can feel the progress. Humans thrive on visible results. That's why tracking matters. When you see that number change, whether it's steps walked, books read, dollars saved, or reps completed, you experience progress in real time. And that sense of forward motion fuels even more discipline. Progress breeds confidence, and confidence increases effort. It becomes a feedback loop of growth. But that loop only works if the goal is specific and measurable. You can't just say, I want to get better. Better at what? How will you know? When will you arrive? Don't leave your future in the hands of ambiguity. Define it. Describe it. Write it out in measurable terms. Instead of I want to be healthier, say I will work out 5 times a week, track my meals, and lose 10 pounds in 12 weeks. Instead of I want to grow my business, say I will increase my monthly revenue by 25% by acquiring 10 new clients. These are goals that give you something to aim for and a scoreboard to track your movement. The more precise your goals, the more powerful your execution. Specificity sharpens focus. You don't just work, you work towards something, and that something pulls you out of bed, keeps you locked in when others quit, and gives your discipline a direction. Without that clarity, your actions float. With it, they cut through distractions like a blade. Most people resist measurable goals because they fear failure. They don't want to track progress because they don't want to face reality. But that mindset keeps them stuck. Tracking doesn't expose your weakness. It reveals your starting point. It tells you where you are so you can figure out how to close the gap. It's not about judging yourself. It's about equipping yourself. Because you can't improve what you don't monitor. When your goals are written down, you move from wishful thinking to intentional living. You give yourself a target to calibrate your day around. And once you do that, your habits start aligning. You stop saying yes to things that don't support your mission. You begin making time for what matters most. You start rejecting what pulls you off course. That level of focus is rare, but it's where real transformation lives. If your goals don't challenge you, they won't change you. Don't be afraid to aim high, but make sure you back it up with structure. A big goal without a system is just a fantasy. You need deadlines, checkpoints, and standards. You need weekly reviews to measure what's working and what's not. You need to know exactly what success looks like today, not just someday. Progress is motivational, but only if you can see it. That's why daily tracking is essential. Set a goal, break it down into actionable steps, and track your performance. Whether it's a habit tracker, a spreadsheet, a journal, or an app, use whatever tool keeps you honest. What matters is that you're paying attention. You're checking in. You're staying awake to your own behavior. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. Even if you fall short, the act of tracking keeps you engaged. It keeps your mind focused on improvement instead of complacency. It keeps your energy directed toward results instead of excuses. And over time, the gap between where you are and where you want to be starts shrinking. Let go of vague dreams and start building precise plans. Write your goals in a place you see every day. Review them in the morning and reflect on them at night. Build your schedule around them. Make your actions match your ambitions. Let your calendar reflect your values. Because if it's not scheduled, it's not real, and if you don't measure it, you won't manage it. The process of setting and tracking measurable goals builds self-respect. It tells your mind, I take my life seriously. I don't guess. I don't drift. I decide. I track. I grow. That's how you build belief in yourself. Not through hype, but through evidence. Through the quiet confidence that comes from doing what you said you would do and proving it with numbers. If you've ever felt lost, stuck, or overwhelmed, chances are your goals aren't clear. Clarity simplifies your path. It removes emotional noise. It gives your discipline a direction, and the more you measure, the more you learn. You learn what motivates you. You learn what throws you off. You learn how to course correct. This is what separates professionals from amateurs: tracking, adjusting, improving. Don't overcomplicate the process. Start simple. Set a goal for one area of your life: your health, your finances, your learning, your focus. Make it specific. Make it measurable. Attach a timeline. Track it daily. Reflect weekly. Adjust as needed. And keep going until you hit it. Then raise the bar. Stack another goal. Build the habit of achievement. Let success become a process, not a one-time event. When you build a system of measurable goals, you stop reacting to life and start directing it. You become proactive, strategic, relentless. You don't leave your future to chance, you engineer it. That's the power of setting clear, trackable objectives. It's not just about the goal. It's about who you become in the pursuit. It's about building the mindset of someone who follows through. If you want to change your life, start measuring your actions. Track your progress. Watch the data. Let the numbers guide your next move. Don't rely on memory. Don't assume. Know where you stand. Know what's working. Know what needs to change. This is the foundation of progress. It's not flashy, but it's effective. It's not glamorous,
but it works. Set the goal. Make it measurable. Break it into steps. Track those steps daily. Review weekly. Adjust monthly. Repeat relentlessly. That's the formula. That's the process. That's how you take control of your growth and build a life that reflects your true potential. It's not about perfection. It's about precision, and it's available to anyone willing to put in the work. Now it's your turn. Set the goal, track the steps, and never look back.
Chapter 7. Cultivate self-discipline by challenging comfort zone limits. If you want to live a life that stands out, you must get comfortable doing the things that most people avoid. Comfort is not your friend, it's your prison. The more you obey it, the more it traps you in routines that keep you average. If you want to cultivate self-discipline, you must start pushing the limits of your comfort zone every single day. Not once a week, not when you feel like it, every single day. You need to prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. You need to break the mental patterns that keep you soft, passive, and reactive. Self-discipline isn't something you're born with, it's something you build, and you build it by going against what's easy. Discipline is created in the moments when you feel resistance and still move forward. It's developed in the early morning when the alarm goes off and everything in you wants to sleep longer, but you get up anyway. It's forged when you're tempted to quit, but you don't. Every time you step into discomfort with intention, you train your mind to listen to you, not your emotions, not your cravings, not your fears. The only way to become disciplined is to stop negotiating with comfort. That's the secret most people avoid. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect timing. They wait until they feel ready. But discipline doesn't care about your feelings. It's a decision you make when no one is watching. It's the invisible foundation that strong lives are built on. Comfort never builds anything lasting. It only weakens your edge, your hunger, your standards. You must challenge your limits because they are self-imposed. Most of the boundaries you think are real are nothing but thoughts you've accepted without testing them. Start proving those thoughts wrong. Wake up earlier, train harder, work longer, say no to easy temptations, choose the harder path, not because it's fun, but because it forces you to grow. Every time you embrace difficulty, your threshold expands. And the more you expand, the less power comfort has over you. Real growth happens when you go beyond your preferences. Anyone can be disciplined when it's easy, but that's not real discipline. True discipline shows up when it's cold outside, when you're tired, when no one is cheering you on, and you still keep going. It's about living by principle, not preference. It's about deciding that your goals matter more than temporary comfort. And once you lock into that mindset, nothing can stop your progress. Most people avoid discomfort because they're afraid of pain, but what they don't realize is that staying in your comfort zone is also painful. It's the pain of regret, the pain of missed opportunities, the pain of mediocrity. And that pain lasts far longer than the short discomfort of growth. When you choose discipline, you choose the short-term struggle that leads to long-term power. When you avoid it, you choose a life of settling, and that is far more dangerous. You don't have to take giant leaps every day. You just have to do something uncomfortable on purpose. Every time you push your limits, you send a message to yourself: I'm not here to coast. I'm here to lead. That might mean finishing a workout you want to quit. It might mean saying no to a craving. It might mean choosing focus over distraction. Small wins, compounded daily, build iron discipline. Not by accident, but by design. Stop waiting for courage to show up before you act. Discipline comes first. The more you do hard things, the more your brain learns that discomfort is survivable. You stop flinching. You stop backing down. You build a new identity, someone who does what needs to be done, regardless of how it feels. That identity is what separates the people who lead from the people who follow. The truth is, the comfort zone never satisfies you. It numbs you. It promises rest but delivers stagnation. It offers ease but steals your potential. That's why you must break out of it before it becomes your normal. Comfort never tests your character. Discipline does, because discipline means doing the opposite of what's easy, and that's what makes you dangerous. When you challenge your comfort zone, you also challenge your mindset. You start seeing yourself differently. You stop settling. You start expecting more from yourself. You begin to realize that you were capable of far more than you believed. And that realization fuels your next step. That's how momentum is created, not through inspiration, but through disciplined action that builds belief. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to practice self-discipline. Every time you resist temptation, you get stronger. Every time you silence your excuses, you gain more control. Every time you push forward when it's hard, you raise your internal standard. You become the kind of person who doesn't fold under pressure. You build a mind that is steady, sharp and focused. That is not something you inherit. That's something you train. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about liberating yourself from the chains of weakness. When you voluntarily choose hard things, you're not suffering, you're strengthening. You're creating the version of you that can handle life's demands without crumbling. You're building a mental armor that protects your mission when life throws chaos at you. Discipline makes you trust yourself. It proves that you're not just full of talk. It shows you that when you say you're going to do something, you follow through. That kind of trust is rare, and it's earned. You earn it through repetition, through consistency, through showing up even when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, and unpopular. Start simple. Choose one thing every day that challenges you. It could be as small as ending your shower with cold water, as focused as doing 10 more reps at the gym, as precise as waking up when your alarm rings without hitting snooze. These are not trivial. They are tools. They are the bricks that build the mental fortress you need to face life head-on. Discomfort is your teacher, and self-discipline is your reward for showing up to class. This isn't a temporary fix. This is a way of living. Discipline is not something you do for 30 days. It's something you adopt for life. It becomes your identity. It becomes your compass. And once you've trained your mind to live beyond comfort, nothing can pull you back into weakness. You'll look around and realize you don't operate like most people, and that's the point. Your comfort zone is crowded. It's where average lives. It's where dreams die quietly. But discipline, that's where greatness is built. That's where your highest potential waits for you. And it's not going to come to you. You have to go after it. You have to be willing to feel the pain, the burn, the resistance, and move forward anyway. If you want to grow, you must outwork your fear of discomfort. You must get addicted to improvement, not ease. The reward is not just external success, it's internal mastery. It's the feeling of knowing that you're not controlled by weakness, laziness, or fear. It's the confidence that comes from being the kind of person who never backs down from a challenge. Discipline isn't a punishment. It's a privilege. It's how you honor your potential. It's how you respect the gift of life. And the more you live with discipline, the more you start living with power. Power over yourself. Power over your habits. Power over your future. This power doesn't come from comfort.
It comes from courage. The courage to go where most people won't. The courage to keep climbing when it's hard. The courage to say no when the world wants you to settle. You already have what it takes, but you must prove it to yourself through action. You must build discipline like a muscle, day by day, rep by rep, challenge by challenge. Start small but stay consistent. Refuse to negotiate with excuses. Eliminate the option to quit. When it gets hard, smile. Because that's the moment discipline is being built. Everything you want requires discipline. The dream, the confidence, the respect, the strength. It's all on the other side of your comfort zone. So step into it, feel the resistance, and move anyway. That's how you rise. That's how you evolve. That's how you lead yourself to the life you were meant to live. No shortcuts, no escape routes. Just you, the discomfort, and the decision to grow stronger through it. Every day, no matter what.
Chapter 8. Improve your focus with purposeful single-task commitment. You're not scattered, you're just distracted, because you're doing too many things at once and finishing none of them with real intensity. The world doesn't need you half-present, it needs you fully engaged in what matters. If you want to dominate your day and move forward with real clarity, you have to stop juggling everything and start mastering one thing at a time. This is where true power begins. Single-task commitment is not a nice suggestion. It's the discipline that separates average results from massive breakthroughs. Your focus is your superpower, but if you keep handing it out to everything and everyone, you'll never know what you could have built with it. Every time you multitask, you're stealing energy from your best self. You're dividing your attention into fragments so small that nothing you do feels meaningful. That's why most people live in a constant state of frustration. They touch 100 things a day and complete none of them with excellence. They think they're being productive because they're busy, but all they're doing is spinning in circles. Focused energy is what moves you forward. One task, one priority, one direction. Anything less is sabotage disguised as effort. Commitment to a single task is a decision to take your time seriously. It's you saying, I'm here, I'm locked in, and I'm going to finish what I start. That decision changes everything. It brings clarity to your actions, presence to your mind, and results to your life. When you pour everything you've got into one thing, you tap into a deeper layer of concentration that multiplies your output. You start doing in an hour what others can't do in a day. That's the power of purpose-driven attention. But this kind of focus isn't natural. It must be built. You've been trained to be distracted, trained to check your phone every 5 minutes, trained to jump between tabs, trained to answer every notification. That's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to fix. Because every time you let yourself be pulled in a dozen directions, you're weakening the muscle of attention, and without attention, you cannot create anything great. You can't grow, you can't lead, you can't win. You're always reacting, always catching up, always exhausted. The path forward is discipline. Discipline to block distractions. Discipline to start and finish one thing before moving to the next. Discipline to say no to anything that dilutes your momentum. And that discipline begins with a commitment to simplicity. Simplicity doesn't mean doing less. It means doing what matters, without noise, without interruptions, and without hesitation. You select the most important task, and you give it everything. That's how focus becomes a weapon. And when you start working like this, fully present, deeply engaged, your brain rewires itself. You train it to stay in the moment. You develop cognitive endurance. You build mental strength. and suddenly, tasks that once felt overwhelming become manageable. You get more done, with less stress, in less time. That's not magic, it's mastery. This is not about perfection, it's about commitment. You'll get distracted sometimes. That's normal. What matters is how quickly you bring yourself back. Every time your mind wanders and you redirect it to the task in front of you, you're getting stronger. You're sharpening your ability to choose your focus rather than being owned by it. That's a rare skill in a world built on attention theft, but it's a skill that will set you apart in everything you do. You have to guard your focus like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. The people who win big in life are not necessarily the smartest, the fastest, or the most talented. They're the ones who can focus deeply for extended periods of time without quitting. They pick their lane and stay in it long enough to build momentum. While everyone else is scattered, they're concentrated. While others are busy being busy, they're producing results that change their lives. You will not find your power in scattered energy. You will find it in full alignment. Align your actions with your values. Align your schedule with your priorities. Align your effort with your intention. That alignment begins when you stop doing everything and start doing one thing well. That's not limiting, it's liberating. Because when you focus on one meaningful task, you feel progress. You experience flow, you taste purpose, and that fuels everything else. The mind becomes stronger through deliberate practice. If you train it to jump around, it will never settle. If you train it to stay on one task until completion, it will obey. You are not your distractions. You are the one who chooses whether to follow them or to rise above them. Choose strength, choose presence, choose single task commitment, not for productivity alone, but for your peace of mind. Think about how much energy you waste trying to do everything. The switching, the anxiety, the half-finished work. It drains you. It keeps you in survival mode. But when you focus on one task with intention, you create momentum. That momentum builds confidence, and that confidence changes your relationship with work. You no longer dread the process. You control it. You master it. You become efficient, sharp, and reliable. Most people don't get this. They think doing more means achieving more. But that's a lie. Doing more often means getting less done, because your energy is divided and your results are diluted. True achievement comes from depth, not speed. It comes from focus, not frenzy. It comes from putting your whole self into one thing at a time and seeing it through, no matter how small the task. That's how you build a legacy, one clear action at a time. You don't need more time. You need more focus in the time you already have. You don't need more tools or hacks. You need the discipline to ignore what's irrelevant. You don't need to be more talented. You need to stop chasing noise and start building consistency. All the growth you seek is already possible if you learn how to focus with purpose and follow through with commitment. Start by setting clear intentions for every task. Know exactly what you want to accomplish before you begin. Then remove every obstacle to your attention. Silence your phone. Close the tabs. Clear the workspace. Create an environment where your focus can thrive. And once you begin, stay with it. No jumping, no switching, no checking, just full presence, full power, full responsibility. Your focus is fragile when it's new, but it becomes unbreakable with training. Practice giving one task your undivided attention for a set period of time. Start small if you must. 20 minutes, then 40, then an hour. Build your capacity slowly, just like lifting weights. The more you practice,
the easier it becomes to stay in flow and ignore distractions. This is how focus becomes second nature. Single tasking is not just about efficiency, it's about integrity. It's about honoring the work in front of you. It's about bringing your full self to every moment. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. If you show up scattered, you get scattered results. If you show up focused, you get focused results. There is no shortcut, just commitment, discipline, and consistency. And here's the truth, this level of focus won't feel normal at first. It will feel boring, slow, even uncomfortable. You're used to stimulation, you're used to jumping around. But that's exactly why you need to break the cycle. Because greatness isn't built on excitement, it's built on repetition, on showing up, on staying with one thing long enough to make it count. Every time you resist the urge to switch tasks, you reclaim your mind. You break the addiction to distraction. You rebuild your ability to think deeply, work effectively, and finish what you start. This is your edge. This is your advantage. In a world of constant noise, focus is rare and rare is valuable. Let others be scattered. Let others chase everything and finish nothing. You are different. You are disciplined. You are focused. You are a builder. And builders don't rush. They don't quit. They don't bounce between ideas. They commit. They stay. They complete. That's how you win. That's how you create results that matter. So make the decision now. No more chaos. No more divided energy. From this moment forward, you commit to focused execution. You pick your most important task. You give it everything. And you do it again tomorrow, and the day after, until it becomes who you are. Because at the end of the day, your life is the sum of what you choose to focus on. So choose wisely, choose powerfully, and choose to finish what you start with fire, with purpose, with everything you've got.
Chapter 9. Strengthen resilience by embracing and learning from failures. Failure is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher dressed in discomfort. The problem isn't that you failed. The real problem is how you respond when failure hits. Most people shrink. Most people retreat. Most people make the mistake of believing that setbacks define their future. But not you. You were built to learn from the fire, not fear it. You were made to take the blows and still keep moving. And if you want real resilience, not the fake motivational kind, then you need to face your failures with open eyes, not excuses. Because every time you fall and choose to rise again with wisdom, you become unbreakable. You don't become strong by winning all the time. You become strong by taking the losses, understanding what they're trying to teach you, and refusing to quit. That's how resilience is forged, not in perfection, but in persistence. Every failure contains a message, and if you ignore it, you stay stuck. But if you lean in and listen, you evolve, you adapt, you sharpen your instincts, you expand your capacity to handle pressure. The pain of failure is not there to punish you, it's there to prepare you. Resilience doesn't show up when everything is going well. It shows up when your plans fall apart, when your expectations get crushed, when nothing goes the way you wanted it to. That's when you discover what you're made of. That's when you stop being soft. That's when you stop making excuses and start owning the experience. You start saying to yourself, "This didn't break me, this built me." Because that's exactly what failure is: construction, not destruction. It builds something inside you that comfort never could. You have to stop running from what didn't work. You have to stop pretending failure doesn't happen. You have to stop covering up your losses like they're shameful. They're not. They're necessary. They're feedback. And feedback is power. if you're willing to face it. Most people avoid it. Most people hide behind pride. But that just means they stay in the same cycle, repeating the same mistakes, blaming everything around them. That's weakness. You're not here to play weak. You're here to evolve. And evolution requires failure. It demands it. Because without the fall, you'll never discover how strong you really are when you decide to rise. Think about the greatest breakthroughs in your life. The real turning points. Chances are, they didn't come when things were easy. They came when something hurt. When something failed. When something forced you to change. That's how this works. Adversity cracks open the surface so the deeper strength can rise. But only if you let it. Only if you don't waste the pain. Because pain that's not examined becomes pain that's repeated. And repeated failure without growth is just wasted time. So how do you grow from it? You don't just move on. You don't just say, oh well. You study it. You ask hard questions. What went wrong? What did I ignore? What belief held me back? What habit weakened my foundation? What fear stopped me from going all in? And then you use the answers. You turn them into strategies. You use them to reinforce your mind. You change your approach. You build something better with the rubble of what broke. That's not failure. That's intelligent adjustment. That's the art of resilience. Resilience is not pretending you're fine. It's not pushing through without learning. It's not faking strength. It's about real strength, the kind that says, yes, this hurt, but I am not finished. It's the kind that shows up again, smarter. It's the kind that embraces discomfort, because it knows what's on the other side. When you fail, and still choose to learn, you take control of your future. You stop being a victim of your past. You stop fearing the fall, because you know it can't hold you down if you don't let it. And once you realize that, you start taking more risks. Not reckless ones, but meaningful ones. You start aiming higher, because you're no longer paralyzed by the idea of failing. You understand that falling doesn't mean you're not capable. It means you're in motion, and motion leads to momentum. Failure isn't the end of your progress. It's the fuel. The world rewards those who keep moving, who keep adjusting, who keep rising. Not those who wait for perfect conditions. Not those who avoid every mistake. The winners are the ones who failed more times than the rest even tried. You need to look at failure differently. It's not rejection, it's redirection. It's not a label, it's a lesson. You're not a failure because you failed. You're only a failure if you stop learning. So keep learning, keep rebuilding, keep refining who you are and how you operate. That's what creates unshakable inner strength, not the avoidance of failure, but the mastery of how to grow through it. Every time you get knocked down and stand back up, your resilience muscle grows. It's like lifting weights. You don't get stronger by lifting what's easy. You grow by challenging yourself. You tear the muscle so it can rebuild thicker. That's how life works. Setbacks tear into you, but if you respond with the right mindset, you grow stronger than before. You don't just bounce back. You bounce forward. Failure also teaches humility. It reminds you that you don't know it all, that you still have room to grow, that your confidence must be rooted in discipline, not just desire. It checks your ego, and that's a good thing, because the moment you start thinking you're beyond failing is the moment you stop improving. Humility keeps you open, open to feedback, open to correction, open to getting better, and getting better is the whole point. But this doesn't mean you tolerate repeated failure without change. Learning from failure means you examine it deeply, make real adjustments, and never repeat the same mistake twice.
It means you take ownership. You don't blame your circumstances. You don't point fingers. You look in the mirror and say, "This one's on me. But it won't happen again." That's how champions think. That's how leaders operate. That's how real progress is made. You can't become emotionally tough by hiding from pain. You build it by facing the reality of what didn't work and using it to rise higher. Every scar you carry tells a story. And if you've learned from it, it's not a weakness. It's proof that you're still in the fight. Most people stop when it gets hard. Most people panic when they stumble. But you take the hit, learn the lesson and keep going. That's resilience. Not in theory, but in real life. In your habits. In your choices. In your bounce-back rate. It's not about how many times you fall. It's how fast you recover, how much you improve, and how hard you fight, not to give up on yourself. Because resilience isn't a feeling, it's a decision. A decision to keep growing even when you've been hurt. A decision to face your flaws without shame. A decision to stay in the game when most would walk away. When failure becomes your fuel, you become unstoppable. You become grounded in truth, grounded in wisdom, grounded in self-awareness. And those are the people who go the furthest, not because they never lost, but because they never wasted a loss. They used every setback as leverage. They kept the lessons and left the excuses. They made their pain their purpose. You have that same power. Every single setback in your life can become a stepping stone if you choose to learn from it. Every failure can give you the clarity and grit you didn't even know you needed. Stop fearing failure. Start learning from it. Start using it. Start mastering the bounce back. And most of all, keep showing up, because the person who refuses to quit can never be defeated.
Chapter 10. Enhance learning through consistent, deliberate practice every day. If you want to rise above the average, then you must commit to a level of effort that the average will never understand. Mastery doesn't show up by accident. It's the reward given only to those who show up every single day with purpose, intention, and focused repetition. Deliberate practice is not glamorous. It's not easy. But it's the one thing that separates those who wish from those who win. If you want to grow, evolve and dominate in your field, then your days must be built around repetition that sharpens, not just repetition that repeats. Most people confuse activity with improvement. They confuse effort with results. Just doing something every day is not enough. If you're not focused, not present, and not correcting your weaknesses while practicing, you're just reinforcing bad habits. You're not growing, you're stagnating. Deliberate practice is different. It's not about clocking in time. It's about attacking your weaknesses, dissecting your mistakes, and building precision into your process. It's about improving with intent, not just staying busy with effort. You don't improve by chance. You improve by obsession. You improve by deciding that you're going to treat every single day as a training ground. Every repetition is a chance to become sharper, stronger, faster, more intelligent, more effective. That's how real learning happens. Not by consuming random content, not by hoping something clicks, but by consistently putting yourself through uncomfortable drills that force growth. You don't get better by wishing. You get better by building. And let me be clear, consistency is not optional. It's the foundation. One day of focus means nothing if it's followed by 6 days of laziness. One good hour won't compensate for 23 careless ones. The truth is harsh, but it's also empowering, because it means your growth is in your control. The people who become great are not born special. They are consistent when others are distracted. They are focused when others are passive. They put in quality effort when others make excuses. That's the difference. Deliberate practice is repetition with feedback. It's trial and correction. It's execution followed by analysis. Most people don't want that kind of discomfort. They just want to do the work and feel proud of showing up. But showing up isn't enough if you're not growing from it. You must be willing to look at what's not working. You must be brutally honest with yourself about what you need to improve. That's how you escape mediocrity. That's how you stretch your skill, day after day, until you become undeniable. It's not talent that will carry you. It's training. The kind of training that no one sees. The lonely hours, the endless repetitions, the constant adjustments. That's the secret nobody wants to talk about. Everyone loves the results, but few are willing to master the process. And if you don't love the process, you'll never make it through the hard days. You'll never last when motivation fades. But if you fall in love with deliberate practice, if you fall in love with daily growth, then no challenge can break you. Deliberate practice demands focus. It demands structure. You don't wing it. You don't go through the motions. You create a plan and you stick to it. You identify what to improve, and you isolate that piece. You work on it until it becomes second nature. That's how athletes train. That's how masters evolve. You don't become great by practicing everything at once. You break things down. You drill details. You refine mechanics. You elevate standards. That's how progress compounds. And yes, it's repetitive. Yes, it can be boring. But boredom is not the enemy. Distraction is. Real growth is slow. It's quiet. It doesn't always feel exciting. But every day you stick to the practice, you are laying bricks. And one day you'll look up and realize you've built something strong, something unshakable, something powerful. Not because you had some breakthrough moment, but because you refused to skip the grind. Learning is not about how fast you can consume. It's about how deeply you can absorb. You can read 100 books and still stay the same. But if you take one concept and deliberately apply it daily, your results will transform. The mind needs structure. It needs pressure. It needs consistent repetition to wire in new habits and knowledge. That's how you take control of your learning. You don't wait for clarity. You create it through repetition. Even the smallest improvement, repeated over time, becomes a massive transformation. A 1% gain today might not feel like much. But if you keep stacking those 1%, you eventually separate yourself from everyone else. Most people want the leap, but the leap doesn't come before the steps. And every step you take through focused practice is a step away from weakness and a step toward mastery. You can't afford to practice like you're playing. You need to practice like a surgeon prepares for surgery, with full attention, full control, and no tolerance for sloppiness. This means cutting out the noise. No distractions, no multitasking. Just you and the work. You and the process. You and the goal of getting 1% better today. Because that's what it takes to build excellence. Not talent, not luck. Just pure, relentless repetition with purpose. The key is not just to do the work. It's to reflect on the work. You finish each session and ask, what did I learn? Where did I struggle? What will I fix tomorrow? That's how you accelerate learning. You don't just show up. You adjust. You adapt. You fine-tune. You grow faster than everyone else because you're more intentional than everyone else. That's the hidden edge. Not hours, but attention. Not volume, but refinement. If you want to win long-term, make your practice your priority. Don't just chase results. Chase mastery.
Chase the ability to control your process with precision. The world doesn't reward effort, it rewards skill. And skill comes from sweat, from discipline, from doing what most people won't. Every day that you deliberately practice, you are separating yourself from those who take shortcuts. You're building something deeper, something real. This applies to every area of life. Want better relationships? Practice emotional control daily. Want better thinking? Practice reflection daily. Want better finances? Practice discipline daily. Success is not about scattered effort. It's about focused habits repeated over time. Whatever you want to get better at, you can if you're willing to train it every day with clarity, purpose, and zero excuses. Don't fall for the lie that you need to feel motivated. You don't. You need to be disciplined. You need to be clear. You need to be consistent. Motivation fades. But if you train through the boredom, through the resistance, through the chaos of life, you win. Not because you had some special edge, but because you refused to stop practicing. You refused to waste time. You refused to let laziness rule your life. Look at the people you admire. The ones who move with confidence. The ones who produce at the highest level. Behind all of that is years of deliberate repetition. The sweat you never saw. The hours no one applauded. The grind they didn't post. And the best part, you have that same opportunity. Every single day, you can outwork your weaknesses. You can take control of your growth. You can build skills no one can take from you. You don't need more information. You need more implementation. You need to take one idea and drill it until it becomes automatic. That's how professionals operate. They don't chase trends, they build fundamentals. And they keep refining those fundamentals until the world can't ignore them. So stop trying to find the shortcut. Stop looking for the secret. The secret is in the repetition. The secret is in the structure. The secret is in the daily battle. You're not here to dabble. You're here to dominate. And domination only comes through discipline. If you don't train it, you can't trust it. If you don't repeat it, you can't rely on it. So whatever you want to master, make it your ritual. Make it your non-negotiable. Make it part of who you are. And then show up and do it. Again and again and again. Because greatness isn't born, it's built. Built by those who practice with purpose. Built by those who repeat the right things until they can't get them wrong. Built by those who don't rely on feelings but commit to the process. You can become that person. But only if you live in the repetition. Only if you practice like your future depends on it. Because it does.
Chapter 11. Boost energy levels with healthy sleep, nutrition and movement. If you're tired of running on low energy and watching your days slip by without purpose, it's time to take your power back by mastering your sleep, your nutrition and your movement. Your energy is your life force. It's the foundation of your focus, your decisions, your work, and your ambition. Without strong energy, you can't build anything meaningful. You can't lead. You can't perform. You can't grow. So if you truly want to rise to your highest level, you must make your energy your top priority, not just once in a while but every single day. Most people drag themselves through life half awake, half focused, half alive. They run on caffeine and stress, they skip meals or binge on sugar, they sleep too little or too late, and they sit for hours with no movement. And then they wonder why they're stuck, why they can't focus, why their motivation fades. It's because energy isn't something you beg for, it's something you build, and you build it through your habits, through the way you sleep, the way you eat, and the way you move. You don't need to be a genius to improve your energy, you just need to take full control of the inputs that fuel it. Start with sleep. Nothing steals more potential than poor sleep. It's not just about how long you sleep, it's about the quality of your sleep. You can't stay up until 2 in the morning scrolling through your phone and expect to wake up clear, strong and focused. Your brain needs deep rest to reset, recover and regenerate. Your body needs cycles of uninterrupted sleep to repair muscles, balance hormones, and recharge your mental clarity. And when you neglect that, you pay the price. You feel foggy. You react emotionally. You lose discipline. And slowly your fire fades. But when you protect your sleep, when you make it a non-negotiable, you begin to think clearly. You move with sharpness. You wake up with energy that doesn't fade after 2 hours. It becomes easier to focus, easier to work, easier to stay patient. And when your sleep improves, everything else improves. You're not drained by life, you're ready to attack it. And it's not about perfection, it's about consistency. Go to bed at a set time. Turn off your screens early. Keep your room dark, cool, and quiet. Respect your body's need to recover, and it will reward you with real power. Then comes nutrition. This isn't about following fads or obsessing over every calorie. It's about fueling your system with real, clean, energizing food. You can't expect to have mental clarity when your body is running on processed junk and constant sugar spikes. You can't expect to be calm, focused and alert when your meals are chaotic and full of empty calories. What you put into your body becomes your mood, your focus and your stamina. And every bite you take is either building you up or breaking you down. Real energy comes from balance, stable blood sugar, steady hydration, and foods that fuel performance. Protein, fiber, healthy fats, complex carbs, and micronutrients that support your nervous system, your muscles and your brain. You don't have to be extreme, just intentional. Eat whole foods. Stay hydrated. Cut back on sugar and excess caffeine. Plan your meals so you're not reactive. You'll be shocked at how much your energy improves just by removing the foods that steal it. The best part, you don't have to guess. Your body will tell you. When you eat clean, you feel lighter, sharper, more in control. When you eat poorly, you feel bloated, foggy, and sluggish. Stop ignoring that feedback. Start using it. Start learning what makes your body stronger and more stable. Nutrition isn't punishment, it's a powerful way to take back control. It's a daily decision that shapes your capacity to perform, lead, and execute. And then movement. You were not built to sit still. Your body was designed to move, to exert, to sweat. And when you don't move, you trap energy, you trap stress, you trap emotions, and all of that builds up into anxiety, laziness, and mental fatigue. Movement isn't just about staying in shape, it's about unlocking energy. It's about circulating blood, activating your nervous system, and releasing the tension that blocks your flow. When you move daily, you wake yourself up. You remind your mind and body that you are alive and capable of action. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to live in the gym. Just move. Walk, stretch, train, lift, run, whatever fits your life. What matters is intensity, consistency, and engagement. Even 20 minutes a day can change your state. It can reset your mind. It can shake off the fog and give you a surge of confidence and control. Movement isn't a luxury, it's a requirement if you want to operate at your full capacity. Every day you sit still, you shrink. Every day you move, you grow. And here's the truth,
These three elements are connected. Improve one, and the others become easier. Eat better, and you sleep deeper. Sleep better, and you crave less junk. Move more, and your digestion improves. It's a cycle, and once you build momentum, it gets easier to stay on track. You stop fighting your energy. You stop surviving your days. You start thriving through them, with a mind that's alert, a body that's awake, and a spirit that's aligned with your goals. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being powerful. It's about choosing habits that serve your future, not just your impulses. It's about deciding once and for all that you will no longer settle for low energy, that you will no longer tolerate dragging yourself through life exhausted and overwhelmed. You're not here to survive, you're here to build, lead, grow, and create. And that requires energy. Not just sometimes, but every day. Energy is built the same way anything is built, with discipline, with small consistent actions, with conscious choices repeated until they become part of your identity. Sleep is not optional. Nutrition is not optional. Movement is not optional. If you want to live fully, you have to treat your energy like the most valuable asset in your life. Because it is. Without energy, your goals mean nothing. Your plans go nowhere. Your vision dies on the page. You can't think clearly when your sleep is broken. You can't make good decisions when your nutrition is chaotic. You can't stay calm under pressure when you haven't moved your body in days. Your energy affects your mindset, your discipline, your productivity, and your resilience. It affects how you show up in your relationships, how you respond to stress, how you face challenges. It affects everything, so stop treating it like an afterthought. Take ownership. Build routines that protect your energy. Wake up with structure. Eat with purpose. Move with intensity. Sleep with discipline. Cut out the excuses. You're not tired because life is hard. You're tired because your habits are weak. But the good news, you can change that. Starting today, you can rebuild your system from the inside out. You can create a foundation of energy so strong that nothing can shake you. Stop chasing motivation and start building energy. Motivation is fleeting, but energy is sustainable. And when your energy is strong, your mind follows. Your actions follow. Your results follow. You become a force of momentum, unshakable, focused, and driven. And you don't need to wait for some magical time to begin. Start with one decision. Go to bed earlier tonight. Drink more water today. Move your body now. Eat something clean and nourishing. That's how change begins, not with a massive overhaul, but with one powerful choice. Stack those choices. Build them into your identity. Refuse to live in low energy. Refuse to be a shell of your potential. Demand more from yourself. Your future doesn't belong to the most talented. It belongs to the most energized. And that energy doesn't come from luck. It comes from discipline, from structure, from honoring your body and mind with real care. So if you've been feeling off, foggy, drained, lost, it's time to reset. Not by chasing more stimulation, but by mastering your fundamentals. Get serious about sleep. Clean up your diet. Move like your life depends on it, because it does. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be intentional. You do need to show up. You do need to stop ignoring the signs your body is giving you. Low energy is not normal. It's a warning, a call to rise. You weren't meant to live tired. You were built for strength, for clarity, for stamina. So reclaim that. No more wasted mornings. No more dragging through the afternoon. No more crashing at night with nothing left to give. Rebuild your system. Start from the inside. Because once your energy is back, everything else will fall into place. Your focus, your ambition, your drive, your results. Energy is not a mystery. It's a habit. And if you build the right habits, you'll unlock a version of yourself you haven't seen in years. A version that doesn't get exhausted by small problems. A version that thinks clearly under pressure. A version that takes on challenges with strength instead of fear. That version is in you, but you must fuel it. You must protect it. You must train for it. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you had unstoppable energy every day? How much more could you build? How much more could you become? That life is not out of reach. It's just on the other side of your habits. Decide now, commit fully, and never settle for anything less than high-level energy ever again. Because when your energy is powerful, so are you.
Chapter 12. Expand your mindset by seeking diverse new perspectives daily. Your mind will only grow as far as you allow it to be challenged. So if you want to think bigger, act wiser, and live with greater purpose, you must train yourself to see the world beyond your own lens. Stagnation isn't always caused by laziness. Sometimes it's the product of limited thinking. You stay stuck, not because you're incapable, but because you only see through one narrow angle. You make decisions based on assumptions. You judge others without understanding their story. You live inside a thought loop that's been reinforced by people who think just like you. And if you don't break that loop, it becomes a prison for your potential. The greatest breakthroughs in life come when you dare to step outside of your mental routine, when you deliberately seek out new ideas, when you listen to people who challenge your assumptions, when you learn from experiences that are far removed from your own. It's not always comfortable, but that discomfort is the very thing that forces your perspective to expand. You grow when you're stretched, not when you're surrounded by familiarity. Look around at the people who inspire you, the ones who lead with clarity, think with depth, and move with purpose. They didn't get there by clinging to a narrow worldview. They exposed themselves to a wide range of knowledge. They stayed curious. They refused to believe that their current perspective was the final truth. That mindset is what separates those who evolve from those who decay. Growth demands humility. You have to be willing to say, I might be wrong. I might be missing something. Let me learn. That kind of humility is rare. Most people cling to their beliefs because it gives them a false sense of control. They're terrified of being wrong. They associate being challenged with being attacked, so they shut out anything that doesn't match what they already believe. They stop listening. They stop learning. And eventually their minds start shrinking. And when the mind shrinks, so does life. If you want to unlock new levels of thinking, you need to expose yourself to perspectives that make you think, not just ones that make you feel validated. Read books by people who disagree with you. Watch documentaries that reveal cultures you don't understand. Have conversations with people from different backgrounds, beliefs, and disciplines. Ask questions without trying to win arguments. Be genuinely curious about how others see the world, and don't just listen to respond. Listen to absorb, to consider, to reflect. You'll be amazed at what you learn when you stop trying to prove you're right. You'll begin to see the blind spots in your own thinking. You'll notice patterns and insights that were invisible to you before. You'll begin to upgrade your mental software, and over time your judgment will improve. Your decisions will sharpen. Your ability to solve problems will multiply. Because your mind is no longer limited to one path, it can see from many angles. This doesn't mean you have to abandon your values. It means you need to strengthen them by testing them against reality. Strong beliefs are not those that go unchallenged. They're the ones that survive challenge. If your perspective crumbles the moment someone questions it, it was never solid to begin with. But if you consistently test your thinking against new data, new stories and new experiences, you'll begin to refine a mindset that is both flexible and strong. That's how wisdom is built. In a world driven by noise and division, the ability to think with nuance is becoming a superpower. The people who rise are not those who yell the loudest. They're the ones who can understand complexity, who can see both sides of an issue, who can disagree without disrespect, who can learn from everyone, not just the people who agree with them. That kind of mindset will make you a better leader, a better creator, a better friend and a better human. And it's not just about the big moments of learning, it's about daily practice. Every day is an opportunity to stretch your thinking. Don't just scroll through the same social media feed filled with people who reinforce your views. Follow accounts that challenge you. Don't just read the same types of books. Explore different genres, fields and eras. Don't just talk to the same group of friends. Reach out to someone you wouldn't normally connect with. Growth isn't passive, it's intentional. You can choose to stay safe inside your echo chamber, or you can step out into the real world and see how others live, think and overcome. And the more you do that, the more resilient you become. Because now your confidence is rooted in understanding, not arrogance. You're not threatened by differences, you're fueled by them. You're not afraid to change your mind because you know that changing your mind isn't weakness. It's growth, it's maturity, it's power. A narrow mind is easy to manipulate. A broad mind is hard to deceive. When you think for yourself, when you seek diverse views, when you challenge your defaults, you become mentally independent. That's how you protect yourself from groupthink, from dogma, from blind obedience. That's how you rise above the chaos and lead with clarity. So ask yourself, how often do you intentionally stretch your perspective? How often do you put yourself in situations where you might learn something completely new? How often do you step outside your bubble to understand someone else's world? If the answer is rarely, then you are choosing limitation. But if you decide today to make this a habit, you will expand faster than most people around you. You won't just grow smarter, you'll grow stronger. Because mental expansion requires courage. It's not easy to hear something that contradicts what you've believed for years. It's not comfortable to realize that you may have judged unfairly. It takes strength to listen deeply, to admit gaps in your knowledge, to open your heart to someone whose life experience is nothing like yours. But that strength is the foundation of wisdom, and wisdom will take you places that raw ambition never could. The goal isn't to agree with everything you hear. The goal is to understand, to explore, to grow, to evolve. And that requires exposing your mind to new inputs. Daily. Not just once in a while. Not just when it's convenient. But every single day. You feed your body daily. Right? You hydrate daily. You move daily. Then why wouldn't you stretch your mind daily too? Make it a ritual. Learn one new idea each day. Listen to someone with a different viewpoint each week. Explore content that you wouldn't normally consume. Ask more questions. Seek more stories. Don't just form opinions, form understanding. The more perspectives you collect, the clearer your own thinking becomes. You stop being reactive. You start being reflective. And that is where true mental strength is born. Your mind is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. But just like a muscle, if you only use it in one way, it becomes imbalanced. That's when you become rigid, closed off, and emotionally fragile.
But when you train your mind to bend, to stretch, to adapt, you build resilience, you build clarity, you build creativity, and you begin to access levels of intelligence that most people never touch because they're too afraid to let go of what they already know. This is not just for your own benefit. When you expand your mindset, you also expand your impact. You become better at connecting with people. You become a bridge instead of a wall. You bring people together instead of pushing them apart. In a divided world, that is an extraordinary skill, and it starts with one simple decision to seek new perspectives with intention, humility, and courage. So stop waiting to grow by accident. Start growing on purpose. The world is filled with insight, wisdom, and experiences that can change your life, but only if you open your eyes to them. Don't settle for the limited thinking you were handed. Go out and discover something more. Challenge yourself to think differently, to question deeper, to listen longer. That's how transformation begins, because once your mindset expands, it never returns to its original size. You begin to think faster, lead better, love deeper, and live with a sense of purpose that's no longer confined by fear, ignorance, or ego. And from that state, there is no limit to how far you can go.
Chapter 13. Elevate confidence by celebrating each small, meaningful achievement. Every win, no matter how small, carries the power to transform your belief in yourself, if you learn to recognize it, honor it, and build upon it without waiting for someone else to validate it. The road to unshakable confidence isn't paved with one big moment. It's shaped by thousands of tiny victories stacked one on top of the other, but most people miss them. They ignore them. They're so focused on the finish line that they forget how far they've come, and in doing so, they rob themselves of the fuel they need to keep going. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build through repeated proof to yourself that you are capable, worthy, and improving. The problem is, too many people only think in extremes. They want big leaps, massive recognition, overnight success. But real growth doesn't work like that. Real growth is slow. It's invisible at times. It happens when no one's watching, and it often shows up as one extra rep, one hard conversation, one better decision, one day you didn't quit. The most powerful thing you can do for your confidence is to slow down and notice what you're doing right. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, that's a win. Every time you follow through when you didn't feel like it, that's proof you're becoming stronger. Every time you break a pattern, keep a promise, or rise one level above your past behavior, that's the seed of self-respect being planted. And self-respect is the foundation of real confidence. If you never pause to celebrate these moments, you'll start believing that nothing you do is enough. You'll measure your worth only by results you haven't reached yet. And that mindset will drain you. It'll make you feel like you're always behind. But when you start paying attention to what you're building, step by step, you'll start feeling more powerful, more motivated, and more certain in your own direction. This doesn't mean you settle or stop pushing. It means you recognize momentum while you build it. It means you honor progress so that progress continues. It means you train your mind to see what's working instead of obsessing over what's missing, because what you focus on, you strengthen. And if all you see are your shortcomings, you'll never feel good enough to keep going. Look at how far you've already come. Think about the things that used to scare you, that now feel normal. Think about the decisions you used to avoid that you now handle with clarity. Think about how you've bounced back from setbacks that once felt like the end. These aren't small things, they are milestones. but you miss them if you're only looking ahead. The reason so many people burn out on their journey is because they never allow themselves to feel proud. They're always waiting until the next big goal to feel worthy. And that's dangerous, because it trains the brain to associate effort with emptiness. But when you start linking effort with pride, no matter how minor the gain, you begin to rewire your belief system. You begin to see yourself as someone who is capable of creating results. And that identity shift is everything. Every single day, you have the opportunity to stack proof. You have the chance to show yourself that you're not stuck, that you are growing. But it only works if you notice it, if you allow it, if you make a conscious effort to acknowledge what's going right. Because once your mind gets hooked on progress, it becomes addicted to improvement. And confidence becomes your new default. This is not about arrogance. It's not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about giving yourself permission to celebrate what's real. And what's real is that you're showing up. You're trying. You're getting better. Slowly but surely. And that deserves recognition, not from the world but from you. Make it a habit. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what did I do right today? Not in comparison to anyone else. Just in comparison to who you were yesterday. Did you make a better choice? Did you control your emotions better? Did you stick to a routine you used to break? These are all wins. Stack them. Remember them. Write them down. Let them remind you that change is happening. When you celebrate small achievements, you create emotional momentum. That momentum builds identity. And identity shapes behavior. If you start to see yourself as someone who follows through, who improves consistently, who honors their word, that's who you become. Not because you faked it, but because you earned it. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you generate. You generate it by doing the work and acknowledging the work. You build it by proving to yourself that you can rely on you. That you don't give up just because things are tough. That you don't let fear dictate your choices. That you don't need the world to cheer for you to keep going. You are your own witness. You are your own evidence. People who wait until the goal is reached to feel proud often quit before they get there, because the journey feels empty. But people who reward progress, no matter how small, stay hungry, because they're fueled by progress, not perfection. They don't need a trophy to feel like winners. They feel like winners because they know they're doing better than they used to. And that feeling is powerful. That feeling turns into momentum. And that momentum turns into massive results. Don't underestimate what you're building just because it's not obvious yet. The habits you're installing, the mindset you're shaping, the self-control you're strengthening, these things are invisible until they're not. One day they show up as confidence in a room where you used to feel small. One day they show up as clarity in moments where you used to panic. One day they show up as results you never thought you could reach. But that day only comes if you stay consistent, and you stay consistent by reminding yourself that you're not the same as you used to be. You are improving. You are evolving. You are putting in the effort, and that effort matters. That effort is worth noticing. That effort is worth celebrating. Every small step is laying the foundation for the future you want. So stop looking down on it. Start appreciating it. Start honoring it. Start letting it fuel your belief that you're on the right path. You don't need permission to be proud. You don't need someone else to say, "Good job." Say it to yourself. Feel it. Let it land. Let it strengthen your self-trust, because the more you believe in your ability to change,
the more change you will create. And that belief starts with acknowledgement, with awareness, with seeing your effort as valuable, not invisible. You are not falling behind. You are building quietly. You are rising slowly. And every tiny step forward counts. Stop brushing it off. Start leaning into it. Start using it. Let it remind you that you are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not the same person you were even a few weeks ago. You are rising. You are learning. You are growing. Let that truth strengthen you. And keep going. Keep stacking proof. Keep collecting moments that show you what's possible when you stay committed. Keep showing up for yourself even when no one's watching. And every time you do, whisper to yourself, "This is a win," because it is. And the more wins you acknowledge, the more unstoppable you become.
Chapter 14. Master emotional control through mindful awareness and breath practice. True strength isn't about how loudly you can roar or how fiercely you can fight. It's about mastering the quiet power of your own mind, the ability to remain calm when chaos surrounds you, to hold your ground when emotions threaten to sweep you away. Emotional control is the cornerstone of resilience and clarity. When you learn to harness your feelings instead of being overwhelmed by them, you unlock a level of personal power few ever reach. This kind of mastery doesn't come from forcing yourself to ignore emotions or pretending you don't feel them. It begins with awareness, truly seeing what's happening inside you without judgment or resistance. Most people live on autopilot, reacting to triggers, allowing their feelings to dictate their behavior. But emotional control rooted in mindful awareness flips that script. It invites you to pause, observe your inner state, and choose your response rather than default to chaos. Breath is your most accessible tool in this process. It is the bridge between your mind and body, the thread that weaves calm into the fabric of your emotional storm. When anxiety rises, anger flares, or sadness deepens, consciously shifting your breathing can interrupt the automatic reaction and create space for clarity. Deep, intentional breath signals to your nervous system that you are safe and grounded, lowering stress hormones and opening pathways for rational thinking. The power of breath practice lies not in complexity but in presence. Simply focusing on the inhale and exhale brings you into the moment, away from spiraling thoughts and overwhelming feelings. This presence is mindfulness in action, an anchor when emotions threaten to drag you under. Over time, consistent breath awareness rewires your nervous system, building a default habit of calm rather than reactivity. Mindful awareness teaches you to recognize the subtle signals your body sends before emotions escalate. A tightness in the chest, a knot in the stomach, a quickening heartbeat. These physical cues are warnings that your mind is moving into emotional territory. When you can catch these early signs, you can step back and engage your breath practice before losing control. This early intervention is key to mastering emotional responses rather than being mastered by them. Emotional mastery also requires accepting that feelings are not your enemy. They are information, guides pointing to what matters beneath the surface. Resisting or suppressing emotions only intensifies them. Mindful awareness invites you to observe feelings with curiosity, allowing them to exist without judgment. This acceptance disarms their power, reducing the need to react impulsively. Building this skill demands patience and practice. The mind loves to jump to conclusions and replay stories that trigger strong emotions. By repeatedly bringing your attention back to the breath and your present experience, you train your brain to break free from these automatic loops. This creates a pause, a gap where conscious choice can occur. In that gap lies freedom.
With regular practice, you develop a resilience that doesn't mean never feeling upset, but means not letting those feelings control your decisions. Emotional control grounded in mindful awareness and breath practice transforms your internal landscape. It grants you the ability to navigate challenges with clarity and strength rather than confusion and exhaustion. The benefits spill into every area of life: improved relationships, better decision-making, enhanced focus, and a sense of inner peace that no external circumstance can shake. When you control your emotional state, you reclaim your power to act with intention and integrity, regardless of what is happening around you. Remember, this is a journey, not a destination. Some days your emotions will feel like a tidal wave, and that's okay. The key is your willingness to return to awareness, to anchor yourself in breath, and to choose calm over chaos again and again. Each moment you do, you build a new neural pathway of strength, rewiring your mind for mastery. You are not your emotions. You are the observer, the conscious presence that can steer the ship through storms rather than being tossed by waves. The practice of mindful awareness paired with breath work is your daily training ground to become the captain of your emotional state. Begin by setting aside moments each day to simply watch your breath. Notice the coolness as it enters your nostrils, the expansion in your chest, the gentle release as you exhale. When thoughts or feelings intrude, acknowledge them kindly, then bring your focus back to the rhythm of your breathing. This simple act builds a foundation of calm that you can carry into every moment. When stress or strong emotion arises unexpectedly, pause and take a few deep breaths. Let your awareness settle in your body. Name the feeling without judgment. I notice anger, or I notice anxiety. Allow yourself to feel it fully without trying to change it. This creates space for the emotion to move through you rather than get stuck. As this practice deepens, you'll find your reactions become less automatic and more measured. Situations that once triggered frustration or panic will be met with a steady presence. You'll notice a growing confidence in your ability to handle whatever arises without losing yourself. Emotional control does not mean shutting down or hiding feelings. It means relating to them differently. Instead of being swept away, you become a witness, curious, compassionate, and clear. This shift changes everything. Your relationships become more authentic because you respond rather than react. Your mind becomes sharper because it is not clouded by overwhelming emotion. Your body feels lighter because you release tension instead of carrying it. The path to emotional mastery is not always comfortable. You will face moments of resistance and discomfort. That is part of the process. Lean into those moments as opportunities to practice greater awareness and breathing. Each time you do, you expand your capacity for calm and clarity. Over time, this practice builds a resilience that cannot be shaken by external events. You develop an internal sanctuary, a place of calm you carry with you wherever you go. This sanctuary empowers you to live fully, engage deeply, and act wisely, no matter what storms come your way. In mastering emotional control through mindful awareness and breath practice, you reclaim your life from the grip of reactivity. You step into the role of your own guide, choosing presence over panic, calm over chaos, strength over surrender. The choice is always yours. Begin now. Breathe deeply. Watch closely. Become the master of your emotional world. This power is within you, waiting to be claimed. When you do, you become unstoppable.
Chapter 15. Develop strong relationships by offering genuine support and kindness. The most powerful thing you will ever give another human being is your presence, your support, and your genuine kindness. Because real connection isn't built on grand gestures or constant agreement. It's built on quiet consistency, emotional safety, and showing up when it matters most. Strong relationships are not born out of convenience. They're crafted through intentional action, through the daily decision to be someone others can trust, rely on, and turn to when the world feels heavy. In a time where superficial interactions dominate and people crave validation more than connection, offering authentic support becomes a rare and valuable gift. There is a difference between helping someone because it makes you look good and helping someone because you genuinely care. One is performative, shallow, and easily forgotten. The other builds foundations that stand the test of time. Real kindness doesn't scream for attention. It operates in silence, in the background, in the small, repeated actions that remind others they are not alone. When you take the time to truly listen to someone, to look them in the eye, and hear what they're not saying, you're doing something powerful. You're saying, "I see you, I'm with you. I'm not here to judge or fix, just to stand beside you." That kind of presence builds trust that words alone cannot. People remember how you made them feel far more than what you said. They remember if you were the one who responded to their message when they were struggling. They remember if you showed up when it wasn't convenient. They remember if you stayed calm when they were falling apart. Support doesn't always mean solving problems. It often just means not abandoning people in the middle of them. Kindness isn't weakness. It's not about being a pushover or saying yes to everything. It's about choosing compassion over ego. It's about resisting the urge to dominate a conversation or prove a point, and instead offering grace. Kindness means showing patience when someone else is learning. It means forgiving when others make mistakes. It means choosing not to retaliate when you're hurt, but responding with maturity and understanding. Genuine support is about putting your pride aside. It's about understanding that being there for someone might not always be recognized, acknowledged, or reciprocated right away, and being okay with that. When you give without keeping score, you give from a place of strength. The truth is, you can't control how people respond to your kindness, but you can always control the kind of person you choose to be. We live in a world that often teaches us to protect ourselves by withdrawing, by being cold, by keeping people at arm's length. But that only leads to loneliness, disconnection, and regret. The reality is, the people around you are dealing with battles you can't see. Sometimes a kind word or a simple check-in can change the course of someone's entire day or even their life. You won't always know the impact your actions have. But that's not the point. The point is to live in such a way that your presence makes others feel seen, valued, and safe. You don't build strong relationships by waiting for others to prove themselves to you. You build them by being someone trustworthy first. Be the one who initiates. Be the one who follows through. Be the one who remembers the details, who checks in without needing a reason, who offers time without expecting anything in return. Those are the people who build deep roots in the hearts of others. It's easy to show support when things are going well, but what about when it's inconvenient? What about when someone is being difficult? What about when you don't fully understand what they're going through? That's when your character is tested. That's when real support shows itself. Anyone can be kind in comfort. Few can remain kind through discomfort. But those who can are the ones others remember forever. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who made you feel strong, capable, and loved. Were they flashy, or were they consistent? Were they perfect, or were they present? Most likely they were the ones who gave when it wasn't easy, who forgave when they didn't have to, who listened when you were lost. That's the kind of person worth becoming. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be willing to be there, to care,
to offer your energy even when your schedule is full. That doesn't mean sacrificing your well-being, but it does mean stepping outside of your comfort zone for the sake of deeper human connection. Because what's the point of all your success if you're surrounded by walls instead of people? Strong relationships amplify your growth, protect your mental health, and give your life meaning beyond achievement. But they don't happen by accident. They're built through effort, through choosing love over apathy, through practicing empathy when anger would be easier. Sometimes support looks like holding someone accountable without shaming them. Sometimes it means encouraging someone when they can't see their own progress. Sometimes it means setting healthy boundaries to protect a relationship from resentment. Kindness is not about saying yes to everything. It's about choosing what is honest, what is helpful, and what promotes growth. Your presence can be a healing force. Your words can be a source of strength. Your time can be a form of love. Don't underestimate the power of being a safe space for someone else. The world is full of judgment, pressure, and noise. Be the one who offers peace, not more chaos. When you make it your mission to lift others up, you rise too. There's no such thing as pouring into others without eventually being filled yourself. You gain clarity about your own values, deepen your emotional intelligence, and strengthen your sense of purpose. Supporting others makes you stronger because it stretches your patience, sharpens your listening skills, and deepens your understanding of the human experience. You'll begin to notice that relationships built on support and kindness are unshakable. They don't fall apart over misunderstandings. They're not threatened by distance. They thrive because both people know the other is in it for the long haul, not for convenience, but for real connection. Keep showing up. Keep giving without expecting. Keep being kind when it's least expected. That's how you build something that lasts. The return on genuine kindness is often invisible in the short term, but over a lifetime it becomes everything. Every strong relationship is a garden watered with consistency, compassion, and patience. Plant those seeds daily, and you'll look up one day surrounded by strength you didn't even know you were growing. You have the power to be that person, the one who brings light into the lives of others. You don't need a platform or a title. You just need a heart willing to care and a mind willing to act. Be generous with your encouragement. Be brave in your vulnerability. Be real in your presence. Let people feel safe in your presence. Let them feel heard, not judged. Let them feel supported, not lectured. Let them feel cared for, not fixed. That's how strong relationships grow. That's how human beings thrive. This is the kind of legacy that matters. Not what you owned, not what you accomplished, but how deeply you loved, how often you gave, how powerfully you made people feel valued just by being yourself. That's how you leave a mark that can't be erased. And that's entirely within your control. Start today. Reach out to someone. Offer your time, your ears, your empathy. Let people know you see them. Be consistent, even when they don't expect it. That's how strong relationships are built. One moment of real support at a time.
Chapter 16. Sharpen decision-making with fast, informed, decisive actions. Decisiveness is the bridge that transforms intention into reality. When you act swiftly and with clarity, you seize control of your life instead of letting circumstances dictate your path. In every moment of choice, hesitation chips away at your momentum and clouds your clarity. The ability to make fast, informed decisions is not an innate gift reserved for a lucky few. It is a skill that can be cultivated, sharpened, and mastered through practice and discipline. It is the difference between a life stalled by doubt and a life propelled by confident action. One of the biggest traps that hold people back is the myth that every decision must be perfect. Perfection is a mirage that paralyzes. Waiting for all the information, for every detail to align, is a guarantee that progress will stall. Real mastery lies in learning to evaluate the facts you have, trusting your judgment, and moving forward with conviction. Good enough, when paired with speed, often outperforms perfect but delayed. Developing fast decision-making starts with discipline in gathering relevant information quickly. It means knowing what truly matters and what is noise. When faced with a choice, train yourself to identify the key variables that will most influence the outcome. This requires focus and an ability to filter distractions. Ask yourself, what information will genuinely change my decision? What is urgent versus what can wait? Equally important is building your confidence in your own reasoning. Doubt is natural, but it must be tempered by experience and trust in your own capacity. Every decision you make is a data point for future decisions. When you commit to action, you gain feedback, success or failure, and that feedback refines your intuition and sharpens your skill. Action itself is a teacher. The longer you delay, the more you lose the opportunity to learn. Each decision you make is a stepping stone. Some will lead to success, others to failure, but all contribute to your growth. The cost of indecision is often higher than the cost of a wrong decision because it freezes you in place, wasting time and energy. A decisive mindset requires overcoming fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making the wrong call. The truth is that every choice carries risk, and no one escapes that. The key is to accept risk as part of the process, not as a barrier. When you do, you free yourself from the trap of overthinking and paralysis. Develop rituals that support decisiveness. Set time limits for making choices. Train yourself to decide in 5 minutes or less for routine matters. For bigger decisions, establish clear criteria and deadlines. This discipline builds mental agility and reduces the mental clutter that fuels hesitation. Avoid getting trapped in the analysis paralysis cycle. Gathering data is important, but endless research without action is procrastination disguised as preparation. Recognize when you have enough to act and commit fully. Remember, a decision made and adjusted is more valuable than no decision made at all. Learning to trust your gut is a vital part of fast decision-making. Intuition is your brain's way of synthesizing past experiences and knowledge into a rapid assessment. When you practice making decisions, your intuition becomes more reliable. But intuition should be balanced with logic. Never ignore red flags or vital facts, but don't overanalyze either. Sometimes decisive action means saying no quickly and clearly. People waste energy agonizing over whether to accept opportunities or requests that don't serve their goals. Strengthen your ability to say no firmly and without guilt. It protects your focus and reserves your energy for decisions that truly matter. An important habit is to prepare mentally for decision-making moments before they arrive. Visualize the types of choices you will face and imagine yourself moving confidently through them. This mental rehearsal builds confidence and reduces anxiety. The more familiar you are with the process, the easier it becomes to act decisively when it counts. Also, embrace the reality that no decision is irreversible. Most choices can be adjusted or corrected. This knowledge reduces the weight of the decision and frees you to act with less fear. If a decision proves unwise, treat it as a valuable lesson and course correct quickly. Surround yourself with people who support decisive action. Too much second-guessing often comes from doubt seeded by others. Seek advisors who encourage clarity and action, not endless debate. A trusted sounding board can help you clarify your thinking,
but avoid those who drag you into doubt. Fast decision-making creates momentum. It's a dynamic cycle. The more you decide and act, the more results you create, the more confidence you build, and the easier it becomes to keep moving forward. Momentum is a powerful ally that carries you through difficult choices and uncertain terrain. When you hesitate, you hand over your power to circumstances and other people. Being decisive is reclaiming control over your life. It signals to yourself and the world that you are a person of action, capable of steering your own destiny. This self-trust fuels further growth and attracts opportunities. Practicing decisiveness in small daily choices builds your capacity for bigger decisions. The simple act of choosing what to eat, what task to tackle first, or when to rest trains your mind to cut through noise and focus on what matters. Over time, this sharpens your mental muscles and expands your ability to respond quickly under pressure. Decisive action requires emotional regulation. When emotions run high, the mind clouds and indecision grows. Techniques such as deep breathing, mindfulness, or stepping back briefly can help calm the nervous system, allowing clearer thought. A calm mind is an efficient mind. Remember, clarity comes through action as much as through thought. Moving forward creates new information and insights that help refine your course. Waiting for perfect clarity is often just a mask for fear. Take action to gain clarity, not wait for it. Be intentional about the energy you bring to decision-making. When you approach choices with focus, calm, and purpose, you strengthen your ability to decide well. Conversely, rushing through decisions in stress or distraction often leads to poor outcomes. Find your optimal mental state before making important choices. Fast, informed, and decisive action is a hallmark of successful people because it puts them ahead of the pack. They don't waste time on indecision or fear. They move forward and adjust as necessary. You can develop this skill and transform the way you navigate life's uncertainties. It's time to stop letting indecision rob you of your power. Commit to sharpening your decision-making starting today. Set clear time frames, gather what matters, trust your experience, and act with confidence. With every decision you build momentum and mastery. No one becomes decisive overnight. It's a muscle built with repetition, self-compassion, and learning. Embrace each choice as an opportunity to strengthen your mind and sharpen your resolve. With practice, decisiveness becomes second nature. Your life depends on the decisions you make. Don't leave your future to chance or delay. Step forward boldly and choose. Move fast, learn fast, and grow fast. That's how you become the person you were meant to be. A person who acts with clarity and moves with unstoppable purpose.
Chapter 17. Optimize time management using prioritized, scheduled action blocks. Time is the most valuable resource you possess. Once lost, it never returns. Mastering the art of managing it is not just a skill, but a transformative mindset that elevates your productivity, focus, and results. When you take command of your time with precision, you unlock a new level of control over your life's direction. Prioritized, scheduled action blocks are the secret weapon for those who refuse to let distractions and chaos dictate their day. It's about carving out dedicated pockets of time that are laser-focused on your highest value tasks. This method ensures your energy and attention are channeled where they count the most, not scattered across a sea of interruptions. Too often, people drift through their days reacting to what feels urgent rather than acting on what is important. Prioritization flips this upside down. It demands clarity about your true goals and a ruthless commitment to invest your hours accordingly. You must know what moves the needle forward and then protect that time fiercely. To begin, recognize that multitasking is a myth that depletes energy and dilutes focus. Instead, block time explicitly for singular, meaningful activities. When you do this, your brain isn't fighting to switch contexts, but fully immerses in the task at hand. This deep work state is where quality and speed both rise dramatically. Creating these blocks requires disciplined scheduling. Start by listing your key objectives and breaking them down into specific tasks. Rank these tasks by impact. What will bring you closer to your goals fastest? Then assign fixed time slots to tackle them one by one. This transforms your vague to-do list into actionable commitments with deadlines. Your calendar becomes your strongest ally. Treat it like a non-negotiable contract with yourself. Guard these blocks from interruptions, turn off notifications, close irrelevant tabs, and communicate clearly with others about your focused work periods. Defending your time is as important as the work itself. The power of scheduled action blocks lies in their predictability. When your day is segmented with intention, you create a rhythm that your mind and body can align with. This consistency builds momentum, reduces decision fatigue, and decreases the mental noise of wondering what to do next. An important part of optimizing this method is realistic time estimation. Many underestimate how long tasks take, leading to frustration and spilling over into other blocks. Track your actual time spent to build accurate expectations. This data sharpens your scheduling skills and enhances your trust in your plans. Batching similar tasks within your blocks is another strategy to maximize flow. When you group like activities, such as answering emails, making calls, or brainstorming creative ideas, you reduce the cognitive cost of switching gears. This focused grouping conserves mental energy and boosts output. Flexibility is vital. Life will throw curveballs, and some blocks may need adjustment. However, this does not mean abandoning your schedule. Instead, build buffer zones or shorter catch-up blocks that absorb unexpected demands without derailing your core work. These buffers are insurance for your productivity. Reflection at the end of each day or week empowers continual improvement. Review which blocks were effective, where distractions crept in, and what tasks took longer than planned. Use these insights to tweak your upcoming schedules, reinforcing what works and eliminating what doesn't. Integrating breaks within your schedule is not optional. It's essential. The brain needs rest to maintain sharpness and creativity. Schedule short, deliberate pauses between blocks to stretch, hydrate, or simply breathe. This prevents burnout and sustains high energy throughout your work periods. Prioritized scheduled action blocks also create a sense of accomplishment. Checking off a completed block provides tangible proof of progress, fueling motivation and confidence. This positive reinforcement builds a cycle of productivity that grows stronger with each day. Learning to say no is a critical skill connected to this approach. Not every request or task deserves a place in your schedule. Evaluate new commitments through the lens of your priorities. Declining or postponing low-impact activities protects your precious blocks and aligns your time with your true purpose. Technology can enhance your time blocking strategy, but should never control it. Use calendar apps, timers, and task management tools to support your system, but resist the temptation to micromanage every minute. The goal is focused action, not rigid control that stifles flexibility and creativity. Morning is often the most powerful time for scheduling your highest priority blocks. Your mind is freshest, energy is highest, and distractions are minimal. Protect these morning blocks fiercely.
as they set the tone and momentum for the entire day. Equally, be honest with yourself about your personal rhythms. Some people work better late at night or mid-afternoon. Align your most demanding blocks with when you naturally perform at your peak. Scheduling demanding tasks when your energy wanes is a recipe for procrastination and low-quality output. Delegation fits into this framework by freeing your schedule for high-impact blocks. Identify tasks that others can handle and empower them to do so. This expands your capacity and ensures your time is reserved for activities that require your unique skills and decision-making. Prioritized scheduled action blocks sharpen your boundaries. They make it easier to protect your personal time, preventing work from spilling into evenings or weekends unnecessarily. When you manage your time well, you create space for rest, relationships, and self-care, which in turn fuel your long-term productivity. Implementing this system requires patience and persistence. Your first attempts may feel awkward or overly restrictive. Adjust and refine until it becomes a natural rhythm. Over time, this approach becomes a foundation of your discipline and effectiveness. This method empowers you to take full ownership of your time instead of being a victim of external demands. It fosters a proactive stance where you decide how every hour is spent, creating intentional progress toward your most meaningful goals. When your days are structured with prioritized blocks of focused action, you reduce overwhelm and the endless feeling of chasing tasks. Instead, you experience calm control and measurable progress. This clarity lifts stress and increases satisfaction with your work and life. Remember that prioritization is dynamic. What is urgent or important can shift. Make a habit of reviewing your priorities regularly to keep your schedule aligned with your evolving goals and circumstances. Mastering your time through this disciplined approach does more than improve productivity. It builds character. The commitment to planned action blocks strengthens your self-respect and proves to yourself that you can set and achieve high standards consistently. Your ability to manage time directly affects your potential for success. When you control how you allocate your hours, you direct your energy and focus like a laser beam toward your dreams. This system is a powerful antidote to procrastination, distraction, and burnout. By intentionally scheduling focused work periods around your top priorities, you build unstoppable momentum. It is time to reclaim your schedule and transform chaos into clarity. Start today by identifying your top priorities, blocking your time intentionally, and defending those blocks with unwavering discipline. Each action block completed is a step closer to mastery. Your future self depends on the decisions you make with your time now. Build the habit of prioritized scheduled action blocks and watch your productivity, focus, and life transform beyond what you imagined possible.
Chapter 18. Strengthen creativity by practicing daily free idea generation. Creativity is not some elusive gift reserved for a chosen few. It is a muscle that grows stronger every time you exercise it. The power to innovate, to solve problems with fresh insight, and to see possibilities where others see obstacles is within your reach. The key lies in daily practice, the simple but profound habit of free idea generation that fuels your creative mind relentlessly. Each day presents an opportunity to awaken your creative potential by allowing your thoughts to flow without judgment or restraint. This practice removes the barriers built by doubt, fear, or the pressure to be perfect. When you give yourself permission to explore ideas freely, you cultivate an open mindset that welcomes innovation and unexpected breakthroughs. The brain thrives on novelty and exploration. When you engage in free idea generation, you activate neural pathways that often lie dormant in the noise of routine thinking. This daily ritual encourages mental flexibility, pushing you beyond familiar patterns and inspiring original solutions. Set aside dedicated time each day solely for this purpose. It doesn't have to be long, just 10 to 20 minutes, where your sole focus is to generate ideas without filtering. Whether you write, speak aloud, or sketch, the mode of expression is secondary. What matters is that you release your mind from constraints and allow creativity to emerge organically. Avoid the temptation to evaluate your ideas during this phase. Criticism and analysis belong to a later stage. Right now, your goal is volume, not quality. By capturing a flood of thoughts, you increase the chances of uncovering gems that can later be refined into powerful concepts. Journaling is a powerful tool to support this habit. Keeping a dedicated creativity journal helps externalize your thoughts, making abstract ideas tangible. Over time, this collection becomes a reservoir of inspiration that you can revisit and build upon, sparking new connections and insights. It's important to cultivate curiosity in this process. Challenge yourself to ask new questions, explore unfamiliar topics, and connect seemingly unrelated concepts. This practice expands your mental horizon and opens doors to innovative thinking that stands out. Don't hesitate to pull inspiration from diverse sources: books, conversations, nature, or even daydreams. Creative ideas often emerge from the intersections of different fields and experiences. By broadening your exposure, you enrich the raw material your mind works with. Create a safe mental space for your creativity by removing distractions and finding an environment that encourages focus and relaxation. The brain is more productive when it feels free and unpressured. A calm mind flows more easily into creative states than one weighed down by stress or multitasking. Incorporate playful exercises into your routine to spark spontaneous ideas. Techniques such as mind mapping, random word association, or imagining what-if scenarios help your brain break free from linear thinking and explore novel pathways. Consistency is essential. The benefits of free idea generation compound with time. Just as physical fitness improves with daily workouts, your creative capacity strengthens as you persist in this practice. You will notice that your mind becomes quicker at producing ideas and that your confidence in your creative instincts grows. Resist the urge to judge or discard ideas prematurely. Even concepts that seem strange or impractical can lead to valuable innovations once examined in context. Every idea contributes to your creative momentum and shapes the way your mind approaches problems. Collaboration can also enhance your free idea generation. Sharing your thoughts with trusted peers or mentors invites fresh perspectives that can ignite further creativity. Constructive feedback during the refinement stage is invaluable, but keep the initial generation phase free from criticism. Creativity flourishes when it is treated as a habit, not a one-time event. Many people wait for inspiration to strike, but waiting is a trap. By scheduling daily sessions for free idea generation, you take control of your creative output and make innovation a consistent part of your life. A common misconception is that creativity requires special conditions or bursts of genius. In reality, it demands dedication and a willingness to be vulnerable, to expose imperfect ideas without fear. This courage to create freely is what separates those who innovate continuously from those who stagnate. Your environment plays a subtle but significant role. Surround yourself with stimuli that inspire,
art, music, books, or even changes in scenery. These influences feed your imagination and keep your creative wellspring full. Celebrate progress rather than perfection. Every idea, no matter how small or rough, is a victory that strengthens your creative resolve. Tracking your daily practice can reinforce your commitment and provide motivation on days when creativity feels elusive. Balancing structure and freedom is critical. While the time and space for idea generation should be protected, the process itself thrives on spontaneity. Let your mind wander, explore tangents, and embrace unexpected thoughts without restriction. Over time, you'll notice patterns in your ideas, recurring themes or concepts that hint at your unique creative voice. Recognizing these patterns helps you focus your creative energy on areas where you have the most passion and potential impact. The habit of free idea generation improves problem-solving skills beyond creativity alone. By training your brain to generate multiple possibilities rapidly, you become more adaptable and resourceful in everyday challenges. This practice also strengthens your intuition. The more you expose yourself to your own thoughts without judgment, the better you become at recognizing which ideas have real value and which are distractions. Importantly, free idea generation can reduce creative blocks. When you commit to producing ideas daily, you build a creative rhythm that pushes past resistance and fear. This momentum keeps your mind active and engaged rather than stuck or overwhelmed. Your willingness to embrace uncertainty and experiment with new ideas reflects a growth mindset, a belief that creativity can develop through effort and learning. This mindset is the foundation for continual innovation and personal growth. Creative energy can be contagious. As you practice and share your ideas openly, you inspire others around you to think more imaginatively. This creates a positive feedback loop that enriches your community and elevates collective creativity. Harnessing the power of daily free idea generation transforms your relationship with creativity from something unpredictable to something controllable and exciting. You learn to trust your mind's ability to invent and evolve, turning creativity into a consistent force in your life. Eventually, this habit feeds into every area: work, relationships, personal projects, unlocking solutions and perspectives that were previously hidden. Your creative confidence grows, empowering you to tackle challenges boldly and inventively. Taking the first step is simple yet powerful. Commit to spending a small, focused period each day devoted solely to generating ideas without limits. Protect this time and honor the process even when the ideas seem faint or scattered. Remember, creativity is not a destination but a journey. Each idea you generate is a milestone along the path of discovery and mastery. Embrace the process fully and watch how your creative spirit expands beyond what you ever thought possible. Make this daily practice non-negotiable. Treat it as essential as breathing or eating, because creativity is the fuel that propels your potential forward. The moment you start is the moment you claim your power to innovate and transform. You hold the key to unlocking a richer, more inventive life. By dedicating yourself to daily free idea generation, you develop the resilience, flexibility, and originality needed to thrive in any circumstance. This habit cultivates freedom, the freedom to imagine without limits, the freedom to create without fear, and the freedom to pursue your unique path with confidence and clarity. The world is waiting for your ideas. Give yourself the gift of daily creative practice and watch how your mind opens doors to endless possibilities. Your future creativity is shaped by what you do today. Start now and never stop creating.
Chapter 19. Elevate influence through active listening and empathetic communication. True influence is born not from speaking louder, but from listening deeper and communicating with genuine empathy. The ability to connect authentically with others through active listening and heartfelt understanding sets you apart as a leader, a partner, a friend, and a force of positive change. When you listen actively, you give someone the most powerful gift, your full attention. This is not about simply hearing words, but tuning in completely, absorbing the tone, the emotion, and the subtle signals that reveal what is truly being expressed beneath the surface. Active listening demands presence. It requires setting aside distractions and preconceived notions to fully engage with the other person's experience. Empathy is the bridge that transforms communication into connection. It means stepping into another person's shoes, feeling their emotions as they feel them, and responding in a way that honors their perspective. This is more than sympathy or agreement. It's a profound recognition of another's inner world that invites trust and openness. To elevate your influence, you must practice listening that goes beyond waiting for your turn to speak. True listening is patient and curious. It resists the urge to interrupt or jump to conclusions. Instead, it invites you to ask clarifying questions, reflect on what has been shared, and show that you understand, not just with your mind, but with your heart. This kind of listening encourages others to open up fully, sharing thoughts and feelings that they might otherwise withhold. When people feel truly heard, they feel valued. This feeling is the foundation for meaningful influence, because people are naturally drawn to those who make them feel seen and understood. Communication rooted in empathy changes the dynamic of any interaction. Instead of trying to persuade or dominate, your words become a tool to build rapport and find common ground. You speak with intention, choosing language that respects the listener's emotions and experiences. Your tone matches your message, reinforcing sincerity and care. Active listening also means being aware of nonverbal cues, body language, facial expressions, and eye contact. These signals often reveal more than spoken words. When you acknowledge and respond to these subtle messages, you deepen the connection and demonstrate attentiveness that goes beyond surface-level interaction. The art of influence through empathetic communication demands vulnerability. It calls for the courage to be open about your own feelings and to admit when you don't have all the answers. This authenticity fosters respect and encourages others to meet you with the same openness. In moments of conflict or disagreement, empathy and active listening become even more critical. Rather than escalating tension, these tools allow you to de-escalate and find solutions that honor everyone involved. You listen to understand the other side's needs and fears, which creates space for collaboration instead of confrontation. To develop this skill, practice slowing down your responses. Before replying, take a moment to process what has been said fully. This pause shows respect and gives you time to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Another powerful practice is paraphrasing what you've heard. Restating the speaker's message in your own words not only confirms your understanding, but also signals that you are engaged and care about their perspective. Being influenced by others is a sign of strength, not weakness. It means you are open to growth and new ideas. When you combine this openness with empathetic communication, you build a reputation for fairness and insight that naturally draws people to your leadership. Influence built on empathy is sustainable because it is rooted in trust, People follow those who show consistent respect for their feelings and viewpoints. Over time, this trust multiplies, expanding your ability to inspire change and foster loyalty. Listening with empathy sharpens your emotional intelligence, the ability to navigate complex social dynamics with grace and understanding. This skill helps you respond effectively to diverse personalities and situations, increasing your impact in both personal and professional relationships. The practice of active listening and empathetic communication enhances your problem-solving abilities. By fully grasping others' concerns, you gain insights that lead to creative and inclusive solutions. This approach reduces misunderstandings and builds consensus more effectively than one-sided dialogue. Daily mindfulness can support your development of these skills. Being present in each moment helps you resist distraction and cultivate genuine interest in the people around you. Mindfulness also enhances your self-awareness, enabling you to regulate your own emotions and communicate more clearly. Influence is not about control, it is about connection. When you listen deeply and communicate with empathy, you invite others into a shared space where ideas and feelings are exchanged freely. This mutual respect empowers collaboration and collective success. Your words become a source of encouragement and support rather than judgment or pressure. This positive energy creates an environment where people feel safe to express themselves honestly and take risks, which fuels innovation and growth. It is important to remember that influence is earned over time through consistent behavior. Small daily acts of attentive listening and kind communication accumulate, building your credibility and authority in the eyes of others. Technology can sometimes hinder true connection by encouraging shallow exchanges. Make a conscious effort to engage in face-to-face conversations or meaningful phone calls that foster real dialogue. When digital communication is necessary, strive to be as clear and empathetic as possible. Cultivate patience. Not everyone will open up immediately, and some conversations may require repeated efforts to build trust. Persistence coupled with genuine care eventually breaks down walls and strengthens bonds. Listening also means recognizing when silence speaks louder than words. Sometimes, holding space without interruption allows the other person to process emotions and thoughts. Your calm presence in these moments can be profoundly reassuring. To strengthen your influence, seek feedback on your communication style. Invite trusted friends or colleagues to share how you come across and where you might improve. This humility enhances your ability to connect and lead authentically. Every interaction is an opportunity to practice active listening and empathy. Whether with strangers, acquaintances, or close relationships, these moments are your training ground for greater influence. Influence is not measured by how many voices you drown out, but by how many voices you uplift. When you listen actively and speak empathetically, you amplify others and create ripple effects that extend far beyond the immediate conversation. Your influence becomes a force for good, inspiring trust, respect, and cooperation in all areas of life. It opens doors to deeper relationships, collaborative ventures, and meaningful achievements that reflect your true leadership. By committing to this way of relating to others, you transform not only your own life, but also the lives of those around you. The power of listening and empathy creates a legacy of connection that endures long after words have been spoken. Start now by choosing to listen with intention and speak with kindness. Make it your daily mission to engage others with openness and heart. The world responds to those who lead with understanding and care, and your influence will grow beyond measure.
You hold within you the ability to shape relationships and communities through the simple yet profound act of truly hearing others and responding with empathy. This is the essence of lasting influence and authentic connection.
Chapter 20. Sustain progress by reviewing and adjusting goals every week. Progress that lasts is built on the steady commitment to reflection and adaptation. When you make it a habit to review your goals every week and adjust them as needed, you create a dynamic path forward that evolves with your growth, challenges, and changing circumstances. This practice isn't just about checking boxes. It's about staying honest with yourself, sharpening your focus, and fueling continuous momentum toward your highest potential. Too often, people set goals and then forget about them, treating the initial moment of ambition as the finish line rather than the starting point. But life is not static, and neither are your aspirations. Without regular review, goals become dusty ideas, lost in the shuffle of everyday distractions or buried under new priorities that weren't clear before. Weekly check-ins serve as a powerful tool to keep your vision alive and relevant. When you sit down each week to assess where you stand, you invite clarity. You look at what you've accomplished, what still needs work, and what obstacles have emerged. This clarity breaks the overwhelm that comes from trying to juggle everything at once. It forces you to focus on what truly matters in the moment, cutting through noise and indecision. Adjusting your goals is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of wisdom and flexibility. Sometimes your initial plan needs to change because your circumstances shift or your understanding deepens. When you adapt your goals, you prevent frustration and burnout by aligning your efforts with what's realistic and meaningful right now. The act of weekly review also reinforces accountability. It creates a natural rhythm that keeps you engaged and responsive. Knowing you'll revisit your progress every 7 days motivates you to stay disciplined and intentional, turning goal pursuit from a vague desire into a concrete habit. This process encourages a mindset of growth rather than perfection. Each week is an opportunity to learn from what went well and what didn't. Instead of harsh judgment, approach this time with curiosity and honesty. Celebrate the wins, no matter how small, and identify the lessons hidden in setbacks. To maximize the effectiveness of your reviews, create a consistent routine. Set aside a dedicated time and space where you won't be interrupted. Use a journal, planner, or digital tool to document your reflections. Writing down your thoughts externalizes your internal dialogue, making it easier to spot patterns and make informed decisions. Ask yourself key questions during your review. What progress did I make? Which actions had the greatest impact? What challenges slowed me down? How can I adjust my goals or strategies to be more effective? These questions guide you toward actionable insights instead of vague feelings. When goals are broken down into smaller, manageable parts, weekly reviews help you track incremental progress. This breakdown transforms large ambitions into achievable steps, creating momentum that propels you forward. As you see progress accumulating, motivation grows, creating a positive feedback loop that fuels consistency. It is crucial to align your goals with your core values during this process. Sometimes people chase objectives that don't truly resonate, which leads to dissatisfaction despite effort. Regular reflection allows you to check if your goals still match your deeper purpose and to recalibrate when necessary. Flexibility in adjusting goals means recognizing when to pivot or even abandon a path that no longer serves you. Stubbornly holding on to an outdated goal drains energy that could be better spent elsewhere. Courageously letting go and redefining your aims opens doors to new possibilities and keeps your journey fresh and inspiring. Tracking your goals week by week also improves your decision-making. As you gather data on what works and what doesn't, you become better at prioritizing activities that yield the highest return. This selective focus sharpens your time management and energy investment. Sharing your weekly reflections with a mentor, coach, or accountability partner adds an extra layer of commitment and perspective. External feedback helps you see blind spots and provides encouragement that sustains momentum. The social element reinforces your dedication and reminds you that progress is often a collaborative effort. Celebrate your weekly progress to reinforce positive habits. Recognizing your efforts builds confidence and keeps discouragement at bay. Reward yourself for consistent work, no matter how small the milestone, as this strengthens your emotional connection to the process. Beware of complacency during your reviews. It's tempting to gloss over missed targets or excuses. Instead, embrace radical honesty with yourself. This doesn't mean being harsh but being truthful, so you can course correct effectively. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of lasting improvement. Another benefit of weekly goal review is managing stress. When you regularly check in on your path, you reduce anxiety about the unknown or the future. Breaking down your journey into weekly segments makes the big picture manageable and less intimidating. Over time, this discipline builds resilience. You learn to navigate setbacks without losing sight of your vision. Each week's reflection becomes a training ground for patience and persistence, qualities essential for achieving anything worthwhile. Regular goal adjustment also fosters creativity. When you're not rigidly attached to one plan, you remain open to innovative approaches and new solutions. This adaptability encourages experimentation, which often leads to breakthroughs. Remember that progress is not always linear. Some weeks you'll sprint ahead, others you'll face obstacles that slow you down. The weekly review process normalizes these fluctuations, helping you maintain steady progress without self-reproach. By engaging in weekly reviews, you develop a deeper understanding of your own habits, rhythms, and productivity patterns. This self-knowledge is invaluable for optimizing your workflow and aligning your efforts with your natural strengths. The act of reviewing and adjusting goals is a practice in humility. It acknowledges that you don't have all the answers and that growth requires ongoing reflection and willingness to change. This mindset opens you to continuous learning and improvement. Commit to making your weekly review a non-negotiable ritual. Treat it as a sacred time dedicated to yourself and your growth. This commitment signals to your subconscious mind that your goals are a priority, increasing your likelihood of follow-through. Use technology wisely to support this habit. Calendar reminders, goal tracking apps, and digital journals can help you stay consistent. However, avoid over-reliance on tools that distract rather than enhance your focus. Your weekly goal review can become a source of inspiration. As you look back at how far you've come, you gain confidence to tackle even greater challenges. This momentum transforms your goals from distant dreams into tangible realities. Through this practice, you cultivate mastery over your time, focus, and energy. You become the architect of your own life, designing progress that is intentional and sustainable. Start now by setting a fixed day and time each week to review your goals. Make it a moment of quiet reflection, free from judgment and full of possibility. Ask honest questions, adjust your course, and recommit to your vision. In this simple yet powerful practice lies the key to unlocking your full potential. The steady rhythm of review and adjustment ensures that you never drift aimlessly, but instead move forward with clarity, purpose, and unstoppable momentum. Your future is shaped by the choices you make today.
By sustaining your progress through regular reflection, you build a life defined by growth, achievement, and fulfillment. Keep this habit alive and watch how your goals evolve from aspirations into your lived reality.